What's up, everybody? Welcome here to Pop Culture Philosophers. Welcome, in fact, to Rockin Robbie Live, here on a Sunday night, March 20th, 2022, to be exact. Station one and all, how are you doing? Welcome to the live show on Sunday nights where we talk about comic books, movies, pop culture, and a whole lot more. We got a great show planned for you tonight. We'll be talking about comic books, of course, our favorites of last week. We'll look ahead at what's coming up in shops this week, including the DC sneak peek. We'll be talking about Peacemaker, because I finally watched Peacemaker, so now I can talk about it, and I want to talk about it because I have some thoughts. We'll be doing a segment of Image in the 90s. We'll be talking about Jet Li's Fearless. That's my latest in my Sifu's journey. Sifu Bullseye Bob has given me this journey of kung fu movies to go through, and now we are at Jet Li's Fearless. We'll be talking about that. Our top 5 favorite movies of 1978. We'll be talking about X-Men, the animated series, episode 9, The Cure. But no Robert Smith in there, plus show and tell, all that and more. This show, though we have a grandiose plan, is driven, fueled, if you will, by your questions, your thoughts, your comments, and your concerns. So get them in right now. What do you want to talk about? Let's see who's in here. And once you get in here, throw out a station, throw out a pop, boom, whatever it takes. Let your voice be heard. Let it be told. What's up, GT Key Comic Station, my man? What's up, artist formerly known as Jesse Say What Station? What's up, Nova 69, dudes? What's up, Mike? What's up, Jorm? What's up, King Dork FTC? What happens here? I just said everything, hopefully, that happens here. Conversation about pop culture. Hopefully a good, grand old time. Thank you for being here. Twitch, what is up? Saw Twitch on, I think, maybe his first YouTube live stream over at Big Herm Collectibles on Wednesday night. Did a fantastic job. They were talking about retro gaming. That was a really great conversation. Jorm in the house. Pop, boom, my man. Boom, pop. Ooh, switching it up. I like that. What's up, Rogue Collection? Nova 69 says, what happens here? Church. We're going to church. Well, I appreciate that. Reaching for the sky. I'm a supersonic preacher. Let me greet you. Try to reach you. Anyway, we're not getting into that right now. What's up, James? How you doing? What's up, Ariaga? How are you doing? What's up, let's see, Station? Hell yeah, man. No Robert Smith, I know. Peacemaker's the best show of the year, at least until Moon Knight comes, says Mike. Well, we'll see about that, right? I think it might be the only new show that I've watched this year, so I don't have much to compare it to. CTA Frank is in the house. What's up? What's up, Spilio? Collector R, how are you doing? What's up, Verno? From the Cerebros, a.k.a. Schmerno. Stuart Gordon hating motherfucker, but that's okay. We are not going to hold that against him. Verno just had a great show over at Blame Fable Tonight over on Instagram. We are the official after party for Blame Fable Tonight. Fable, Big Herm, Missing Link, Steph, and Verno from the Cerebros had a fantastic show. They reviewed a movie called Overlord. I've never seen it. I skipped out on some of the movie review, then came back in. But great show and tell, Verno. You killed it. Fable had some great Transformers. They had some great discussion at the beginning, too. And Big Herm getting a little emotional talking about Scott Hall. So that's definitely somebody very important to him. But that being said, we're here to party, after party, for Blame Fable Tonight. That's one of my... It is my favorite Instagram show. I almost said one of mine because I do a show on Instagram, but screw that. It's the best show on Instagram. What's up, Jamie Rodriguez? Or is it Jaime? How are you doing? Yo, what's poppin'? Verno says, stationed to fellow Stuart Gordon haters. Hell yeah. Join the PCP Army. It's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. If you're on Facebook, you might as well follow Pop Culture Philosophers there. We're also on Instagram, where I do the live show on Wednesday night, 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Rockin Robbie's Comics and Karaoke, or Comics and Karaoke with Rockin Robbie. I don't know. I'm still working that out. You can follow me on Twitter at the Rockin Robbie. And of course, you can check out podcasts and more at popculturephilosophers.com. The podcast is about to be returning. We are now editing in the final steps of re-editing the podcast. So the Bondcast will be up very soon. I think it's called Overlord. Verno will let me know for sure. But yeah, and also if you want to support the channel, you can do so with Super Chat tonight, which triggers some kind of musical video, as well as patreon.com patreon.com/PCP, like these fine PCP patrons right there. A freshly minted list and graphic. What's coming up here on the channel? Well, don't forget that I do the show with the EXP on Monday nights at 5 p.m. Central Time with Dynamic Forces, aka Dynamite Entertainment. They have great comics, collectibles for sale. And if you check out dynamicforces.com and find anything there that you want to buy, be sure to enter Robbie at your cart. You'll receive 10% off. And then right after that, we got the bird with the crystal plumage. For PCP Movie Night tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central Time, this Dario Argento's directorial debut. Very excited to dive into that one. And then the long-awaited Robbie finally watches Midsummer. That takes place at Dylan's Horror Show on Saturday night at some point between 7 and 8 p.m. Central Time. Who knows? It goes back and forth. We are at the tail end here of March Madness, but it's been a great March Madness. It's been super fun. If you've missed any of those shows in collaboration with me and Dylan's Horror Show, definitely check them out. And we're back. How is everybody doing? And we come back with super chat from Nova69. It says a little something for the collection plate. Thank you so much. We got grand plans to go to Heroes Con in June of this year, so every little bit helps. We do appreciate it. Look to my left and I look to my right, and when I look to my right and I look to my left, and I look and see Star Trek novels, but it doesn't mean that I'm gonna weird stretch about it. Not saying it to brag, not saying it to drag you down or drag you away. Let me tell you what I'm saying it for, is because I just need something to do except talk about the floor. Looking at the floor, I see a Power Ranger action figure laying in the corner. Then I got some X-Men Blu-rays animated series. You know what I'm on? I just lost what maiden words up. That means I'm at the end of this rock. And you never know what's gonna happen here on Rockin Robbie Live on Sunday night. Oh! I do want to thank Nova69 for the super chat, as well as the $6.99 in Canadian dollars. Nice station. All right, we're going to commence with the first five, where we have taken on the honor of the first five from the Coffee and Comic Show from Comics with Bueller. We're going through the Blu-ray collection here in Casa de la Rockin Robbie, and we're in the P's. So next up, Pan's Labyrinth, a really great movie, Guillermo del Toro. We talk about that. We've never covered that on a PCP movie night. There is People Under the Stairs. We recently covered this over at Dylan's Horror Show. That's a really great, underappreciated Wes Craven film. Speaking of Dario Argento, because we got Bird with Crystal Plumage tomorrow night, Phenomena is one of Dario Argento's 80s films, starring a young Jennifer Connelly. Donald Pleasance in that movie as well. Then Pinocchio, don't you know, with the slip. What can I say? I like Disney classic films. Pinocchio is as classic as you get. It's like, what, their second feature-length animated film, maybe? Right after Snow White was Pinocchio, I think. And then this was a gift from my man Jay Strick, but it is my Scream Factory Steelbook edition on Blu-ray of Joe Dante's Piranha. I've never even peeled the damn thing off the back, but I love these Steelbooks. I don't have a lot of them, but the ones I got I really like. People eat fish. Fish don't eat people. If you've never seen Piranha, it's a hoot. That concludes your first five for tonight. Got to get some kind of graphic for that, don't you think? Yeah. It is what it is. So how is everybody doing? Are you checking out March Madness? In fact, my Auburn Tigers are playing right now. I have 3 TVs now, so I plan on getting one of them set up in here, but it's not set up yet. So I'm not going to be able to watch it. So if anybody is able to keep me abreast of the score of the Auburn-Miami game for March Madness. And if you like college basketball, if you're following March Madness, is your team in it? What's going on? What's that team? Is it St. Peter's that's made it to the Sweet 16? That's the Cinderella story of the year. Have I ever seen photographing fairies? No. Todd Station says the DVD is impossible to find. Well, I guess I won't be watching it. Is it a cool movie or something? I've never even heard of it. Oh, we got Sleepy Reader 666 in the house. Damien, what is up, my man? I just watched yesterday, before Dylan's Horror Show, I was watching your latest comic book countdown. And it was one you were talking about. Like, I think you were sitting there, you had some oat milk and some coffee, I believe. You were sitting, it looked like you were at a coffee table. And what was, like, you had Evil Ernie on that list. You were talking about that. You were talking about the new We Live books. And that was really, I love your countdown videos. So please keep doing them whenever you can, because I really love your perspective on comics. I get a hoot out of your opinions. Everybody sub up to Sleepy Reader 666 if you haven't already. Do we have any mods in the chat? Any blue wrenches here? If so, throw up a link. You know, I go to some of these people's chats, it's nothing but blue wrenches. Nothing but. You go to Big Herm's channel. Everybody's got a blue wrench but me. But it's okay. I'm not mad about it. I'm not one of those people, you know. It's going to be like blue or red wrench. What do you choose? Or anything like that. My Zona Wildcats are in. Hell yeah. Yeah, Pinocchio is Disney's second film. There you go. That's what I thought. It was that, and then Pinocchio, and then was it Fantasia right after that? Like, I love those early ones. Well, Station, Damien, you do really great content, man. And thank you for always the kind words as well. Trade Paper Dad's in the house. Let's see. So everybody, we have the coolest chats. Verno was mentioning this on the Blame Fable Tonight show. He said he felt very welcome when he came into a Rockin Robbie Live because of the chat, because of the community. You guys are the bee's knees. You guys and gals are the bee's knees. Miami 10, Auburn 4. Thank you very much, Twitch. Very early, obviously, in the game. So Auburn had a slow start in that last game. See what happens. I still haven't gotten over that Virginia game from a while ago, a couple years ago, whatever that was, if you remember. Yeah. Anyway, I haven't seen Photographing Fairies. So you guys, anybody hear the big stink over the Red Room Trigger Warnings issue number 3 variant cover that Jim Rugg was going to do? As y'all know, he's been doing homage covers, like tributes to, you know, one could say milestone comic books in comic book history. As he started with an homage to 8-Ball number 1, which I have an 8-Ball number 1 right there. Actually, just picked that up a few weeks ago, and they did TMNT number 1. They did Love and Rockets number 1. They did Spawn number 1. And the latest one that came out was Zap Comics. We'll be showing that off later on tonight. But for issue number 3 of Trigger Warnings, Jim Rugg decided to do a Mouse homage, the Art Spiegelman classic Mouse. And when I first saw it, I'm going to be honest with y'all, I'm so into horror and the genre that initially I was just like, fuck yeah, that's awesome. I love Mouse. So I'm just seeing it as they're homaging books that they love and respect. I'm not thinking that this is a book, a horror comic about people that torture other people for profit. And I mean, and it's not necessarily, I can argue that there's a level of deep richness to the book, but it's obviously not as deep as something as Mouse. So a lot of people thought it was in poor taste. So Jim Rugg and Fantagraphics, where Jim Rugg decided to pull the cover. I hope that they drop in another homage cover, because I would hate to miss a Jim Rugg cover for an issue of Trigger Warnings. But when that all came out, I was like, yeah, I didn't even think about that, because I don't think of the book as a torture porn book. I just think of it as a book I really like, because I'm so desensitized to that kind of stuff in my fiction. But definitely understood that. Anybody see that? Anybody seen that? Am I way behind in the comments? Because everybody's talking about basketball right now. Joram says, dude, your community has been the most. The most? Oh, he mistyped the worst. Jorm saying, dude, your community has been the worst. Oh, that sucks. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Mike says, my Hawkeyes shit the bed in the first round, so I don't care about March Madness now. Well, you can still care about PCP and DHS March Madness. Continuing tomorrow night with Bird with Crystal Plumage by Dario Argento. And then Midsummer, which people keep talking about. It's one of those elevated horror films that I've never seen. So, Photographing Fairs is about a halogenic flower that slows down time. And that's the only way that you can see the fairies because they move so fast to see with the naked eye. That's actually sounds like a really cool movie, but can you find? I want to write that down. Hey, my homie B, if you're watching, you know what I'm saying. Photographing Fairies. So every once in a while, I'll go back and I'll look at my notes for a Rockin Robbie live night, and it'll just have these random shit listed down, and I'll go, oh, that's right, I needed to check that out. That sounds really cool. Taki616 is in the house station. Taki, how are you doing? What's up, Kirby? Spilio says, bro, did you read Cloaked from Dark Horse? It was a grade 4 issue read. I read the first issue. I actually liked it. I wasn't looking forward to it because I usually don't like a lot of Dark Horse books written by Mike Richardson. It's just usually the way it goes. But I read that first issue and I rather liked it, right? So then I was down. And then when issue 2 came out, I remember specifically being like, you know what? It was a big week. And I was like, Cloak number 2, I'm just going to say no to because historically, I haven't liked Mike Richardson comics. So I did skip on the rest of them. But I have heard really good things about it. All right, now we're catching up to my conversation. That's cool. That's awesome. It's like a little bit of a time traveler here. It's kind of cool. It's like I'm setting up future conversations. I wish there was a way to get the chat like super instantaneous, but you just can't do that. 60 slang the most. I know you dig it. Yeah, we dig it here. You dig? Trade Paper Dad says, not at all into Red Room. The idea of it is not entertaining to me. No hate on it though. And no hate on you, bruh. I completely understand. That's not something that's going to be for everybody. 100%. So what I'm saying is I don't think of it as a book like that because I'm just into that, right? I'm into horror. I'm into gnarly, gross kind of stuff. I'm into it, man. And like, I understand people not being into it, right? I get that. And so to me, I don't even think of it as anything out of the ordinary. So the mouse thing was a bit interesting. And that's what Sleepy Reader's saying. Yeah, that mouse thing is tricky. Torture homage to famous Holocaust story creates an odd message. Yeah. And I don't think that Jim Rugg or Ed Piscor or Gary Groff or the team at Fantagraphics was their intent. I think their intent the entire time with those homage covers, Jim's intent has been to pay honor and respect to cartoonists, famous cartoonists, and Art Spiegelman is one of them, and Mouse is his most famous work, and yeah. But they did the Raw Comics homage, so that was good enough, right? I mean, that wasn't he involved in Raw? Didn't he do Raw? Wasn't that his publication, or did he work it? Like, wasn't that Art Spiegelman? I've never read Raw. I found out that at some point there were collected editions of certain stories from Raw, and now that shit's really hard to get, and I'm kind of pissed. Like, I would love to check that stuff out. I guess maybe I could always try to get a hold of it in some kind of digital form somewhere or something. Though I do have on the way a complete Roger Crumb comics volume 1, and I am going to get that whole collection over time. Some of them are in print, some of them are out of print, so I bought this one in the aftermarket online. And I know it's not where the best work is, but I'm just going to get them all and one day just sink in, because I haven't really read a lot of Roger Crumb. I've just seen that movie way too young in my career. I didn't even know, like that was the first time I really heard of Roger Crumb, was watching that movie. I watched it a little bit too young, then I rewatched it in my early 20s, but I never really did a deep back dive into that. And now that I've had this reawakening of interest in Daniel Clowes and things like that. Daniel Clowes has led me back into reawakening a whole bunch of stuff like Peter Bagg and my interest in the Hernandez Bros stuff with the like Love and Rockets, but I've never read Love and Rockets, right? But it's got me more interested in kind of diving back into some of their work and checking out their work that I've missed, and work that I've never read before, like Charles Burns, and Roger Crumb's one of them. Like, I've actually never read a lot of Roger Crumb stuff. And I was also, Zap was, I'm thinking of Raw. Why? I mixed up Raw and Zap. I'm so sorry about that. Thank you, Damien. I mixed up Raw and Zap. Yeah. Anyway, all of that to say, I bought a Roger Crumb book, and I plan on checking. Maybe it has some of the Zap comic stuff. Yeah, Zap and fuck yeah. God, what's wrong with me tonight? Anyway, I stumbled upon the series called Dregs from Black Hat. Ever read it? Rich People Eat the Homeless. Yeah, that was Zach Thompson, Lonnie Nadler, right? I think that was the first time I ever read their work. I rather liked it. I think I covered it on the weekly review when it was first coming out. Anyway, the Raw led me into thinking of Zap. I mixed up Raw and Zap comics, but I get that there's not really good like collections of that kind of stuff to find anymore. Have you read Burns' Black Hole? I would think that would be up your horror alley. No, Damien, I haven't read it, but I actually bought it probably like 3 weeks ago. So I have a copy, and I haven't read it yet. I have a table in Studio B right now, which I'm not using currently as a studio because it's kind of holding the table of the backlog things for like upcoming Robbie's reads and Image in the 90s and Marvel in the 80s and things like that. And on there is a big stack of books. I read Asterios Polyp this week by David Mazzucchelli. Fucking loved it. And now that's on that stack is Black Hole. Seems really cool. What's up, Two Gun Pedro? Pop, pop, boom. Todd says, just got Marvel Masterworks Brother Voodoo Volume 1. Oh, that's dope. I've never read any of that stuff. That sounds cool as shit. Spilio says, how was it, Todd? I love Brother Voodoo. Marvel Masterworks are the truth. I never jumped into the Marvel Masterworks because I always, to me, when I was growing up especially, it was too little for too much. Like, the amount of issues per volume was not high. Nowadays, of course, you got the omnibus. I buy omnibuses, but I don't buy a lot. Like, I do also have Epic collections for the Silver Age stuff. I've been buying those digest new Mighty Marvel Masterworks they've been doing. But I have all the Epic collections of Fantastic Four. And I also have the Essentials. I used to get the Essentials all the time. I have the Essential Tomb of Draculas, but now I got the complete collection. So I like the complete collections, and Masterworks are cool, though. They really, really treat those reprints with a decent amount of respect. And there's some really old school ones between them and DC Archives of some stuff that will never be reprinted probably and is only ever going to be available in those volumes they did with kind of surprisingly lower print runs, or some of them surprisingly high print runs. So it is what it is. All right, we're going to switch gears into talking more about comic books. I want to talk about last week's comics. It was a really solid week. Had some really good stuff. Check out my top 5. It was pretty close between those top 3 in particular. We had a great week, though. Ram V debuting on Carnage. We had Mark Waid, Dan Mora, Tamara Bonvillain, Aditya Bidikar debuting on World's Finest. And we had some really great indies as well. So I want to know, out of everything that you read last week, everything you picked up, everything new from last week, what was your favorite? What was your pick of the week? My pick of the week was Homesick Pilots. Let me tell you about this book. I really like this. I think I've said this twice already in the last week because I said it on the weekly review and I said it in the top 5 video, but I really liked this, so I'm going to say it again. This book defies my expectations and it defies my descriptions. It's really difficult to explain this book. What is it? It's about a punk rock band. So it's saying stuff about youth culture. It's saying something about this rebellious, youthful nature against authority. It's saying something about an idealistic perspective on how the world should be and the juxtaposition of that with dealing with the world as it is. So it's saying that, and it's about that. And it's about punk rock's influence in youth culture, especially in that kind of mode thematically. It's also about a haunted house that gets up and fucking walks. Because think of each ghost as a pilot in a Voltron or a Megazord, okay? Now think of one of the members of a punk rock band being someone who can channel this ghost energy together and make it work together to lift the house up, turn it into basically a giant house mech monster, and go about terrorizing shit like a goddamn kaiju. Meanwhile, the government finds out about this technology. It exists, so they get their own they get their rival punk rock youth to explore the technology of ghost mech. Okay? So it's about youth culture, and it's about a rebellious thing. And then you got the direct opposing force, this corporatized government coming in, this military industrial complex trying to weaponize this stuff. And then when we had Dan Waters on the show, friend of the show, by the way, Dan Waters, a brilliant fucking writer. When he was on the show, he was talking about ghosts represent trauma to him in story. So all the ghost stuff represents trauma. So what is it? It's about utilizing trauma in destructive ways and creative ways. That's fucking brilliant on a thematic level. And then you add in just the fact that it's got some really witty, clever, funny things to say about youth culture and punk rock. And it's also delivering a really high-octane, kick-ass fucking action story that's rooted in some very nuanced teenage emotion. And Casper Wingard as the artist, holy fucking shit. Casper Wingard is such an amazing artist, and he's the colorist of this issue too. I think that this is his best series, and if you've never read his collaboration with Dan before called Limbo, you definitely need to check that out, especially if you're a horror fan, especially if you like retro 80s, like VHS feeling type things. And you get that vibe here too. But not only is Homesick Pilots Casper Wingard's best work of his career that I've seen, it's the best issue of this yet. And all the pieces are coming together. This is issue 13 of 15. So it's about to be wrapping up, but it's wrapping up in a really impactful, wild way. And when this all gets put together in one deluxe hardcover, I'm going to buy the hell out of it, and I'm going to read the hell out of it. This book slaps. It's freaking awesome. It's amazing. It was my pick of the week for not the first time. So I want to know, what did you think about Homesick Pilots? And what was your favorite comic book of last week? What was your pick of the week? Before we acknowledge the very generous super chat from Spelio over there, just going to look back real quick to the pick of the week talk. Frankenfrog's got 10 issues of Richie Rich. I was just watching a Dan Clowes interview, and somebody asked him like what he liked about comics and when he got into it, and he just said he loved comics so much that he read every comic book that he could, and then one day he realized he was a 40-year-old man reading fucking Richie Rich. And I've been in those positions. So that was really cool. All right. Taki says, Eternal's the heretic. I threw blue and gold across the room in honor from V. Oh, awesome. I have not been reading Eternals. I did get the first trade. It's sitting in that stack on that table in Studio B. Hopefully one day I'll get to it. William says, top comic of the week was JLA Avengers trade if you can afford it. Yeah, supremely low printed. Damien says, you've convinced me. I dropped Homesick Pilots too soon, jumping on the trades. Homesick Pilot sounds like a simple story to me, says Two Gun Pedro. I really like it, Damien. I hope that you like it in the long run. I think it's one of those things that's going to read really good when it's completed, like as a whole. 80s VHS feel. Something about that just speaks to me. Joram, check out Limbo then. It's a 5-issue series. You can get the trade easily. It's the same team. Also, Aditya Bidikar is the letterer here. Tom Muller is the designer. Sumerian Hour the Dragon, that was your pick of the week. That's right. I really liked that book. It was cool to see you in that video talking about that book, Conan the Conqueror, I believe. I've never read any of that stuff. So it's like Because usually, is this a 2-issue series or something? How long is this series? I like the Sumerian stuff for the most part. It's got some really cool art, but you're right. It should be published into bigger things. Now, I think that the first hardcover that they published, Blaze published a hardcover of volume 1 of the Sumerian. So it has like the first like 3 or 4 miniseries. And I think it is a bit oversized. I think it's a bit bigger. So maybe that might be the way for me to go. But I wonder if it reprints the text, because that's something I like about those comics is they reprint the text. So I wonder how long this is going to be. Are they reprinting the entire text? Anyway, that's just a lot of rambling. But yes, check out Limbo, Joram, if you like that 80s VHS feel. Really cool. Spilio says, Homesick Pilots is a tremendous read. Also, speaking of Spilio, with Super Chat, $50. Thank you so much. This is for Heroes Con, my friend. I want you to enjoy it for all of us. And anybody that's in the area, please come and join us there, man. We'll have the PCP meetup. Thank you so much, John. That's very, very, very generous, Spilio. We love you. Station. Let me tell you about this little man I know. His name is Onslaught. He was made from the jumbled mess of Magneto and Professor Charles Xavier. Don't you understand? I'm talking about the X-Men 90s event. It's in my hands. No, it's not, but it's just about 5 motherfucking feet away. Don't you know? His name is Onslaught. Was that too much? Was that too much of a tease right there? Oh, thank you so much, Spilio. We really do appreciate the super chats, my friends, especially generous ones like that. You're making the dream come alive. You're making it come true. Thank you so much. The Milestone trade paperback will be, the compendium's got very soon. And very excited to start doing some Milestone in the 90s segments here. And now on the journey to Heroes Con to hopefully meet some of you fine people as well as a fantastic assortment of comic book creators. Speaking of fantastic assortment, we got the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo coming up April 22nd through the 24th here in Huntsville, Alabama at the VBC South Hall. You want to make it. You want to be there because Pop Culture Philosophers is going to be there, as well as Kevin Eastman and all these fine people too. But Kevin Eastman's going to be there. He only has doing 5 shows this year. This is one of them. We also got Jim Starlin. I've never met Jim, and I've never met Kevin, so I'm really freaking excited for that. We got some great voice actors. The voice of Wacko, Pinky. We got the voices of Pinky and the Brain. That's not the guy who did the Brain, but he's another guy. But we got some Power Rangers. We got Lou Ferrigno. Fuck that guy. There's the Brain. We got another Power Ranger right there. That's Cat, man. We got other people, voice actors. Felisa Rose is going to be here from Sleepaway Camp, and Victor Crowley. Very excited to meet her again. Some illustrators. We got Eric Estrada in the area. And it's going to be a great, fun show. Pop Culture Philosophers is going to be there. DJ Qualls is going to be there. And Irene Bedard is going to be there. She was the voice of Pocahontas. But Kevin Eastman, that's the big draw. So I hope you join us at the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo. That's April of this year. PCP will be there. We met Nick from Comic Culture there last year. It was really great. Plus, we do a panel there. Oh, shit. Have I put the panels? Oh, shit. What's up, Albert? What's up, Big Herm? Station, how are y'all doing? Ablaze is killing it with the Sumerian stuff, says Spilio. Rogue Collecting says Tom Muller does great design work. Yes, he does. Big Herm's eating dinner and watching. What are you eating, my friend? You know what I had the other day? I wish I would have weird stretched, taken pictures and shit, but I didn't. I shoulda, because it's unlike me not to do some weird stretching like that. But I made some hamburger fucking helper for the first time in years. Had some beef stroganoff. It's pretty decent. Twitch says, Homesick Pilots reminds me of a few crazy anime that I have watched. It definitely does have that vibe to it. Damien says, Limbo was awesome and unique. I agree 100%. Trade Paper Dad says, I'm behind, so pick of the week for me is Punisher #1, Maria, and Black Panther 4. Really digging the Sleeper Agent story. I really liked Punisher. I thought it was really good. Spilio says, I agree with you, Trade Paper Dad. Punisher was tremendous. 500 feet away. How big is your place? Did I say 500 feet? I meant 5 feet away. It's more than 5 feet, though. Cards fan says, I read Flash 139, Green Lantern 47 and 48. Don't read new comics anymore. Like to do things in runs now. Hell yeah. That's a fun thing to do, though. Wait, why the enmity? Oh, why that towards Lou? No, I've forgiven Lou Ferrigno, so I don't really have that much hatred towards the guy or anything anymore. But I had a bad experience with Lou Ferrigno at a con in 2002 in Chicago. It was a very bad experience, and did not dig it. Did not dig it. Left a bad taste in my mind. I've forgiven him, but I haven't forgotten. I actually did a video about it, so I would encourage you to check out that old-ass PCP video that I did. It's called Robbie Rants, I Forgive Lou Ferrigno. Twitch is eating chicken tacos. That sounds delicious. I'm going to have pizza and hot wings tonight. I have some leftovers I got to heat up. Get Lou Ferrigno to sign a Hulk magazine. I tried to get him to sign a fucking Hulk comic book. He wouldn't fucking do it. And he pissed me off, and it caused this whole fucking commotion. Jelani was there. Jelani doesn't like Lou Ferrigno because of that shit. And every time he comes to our fucking town, they give him the goddamn key to the fucking city. They make him an honorary fucking deputy. He does that shit everywhere. Like, he gets off on it. Like, what the fuck is up with that? What a weird fucking stretch, bruh. You're fucking Lou Ferrigno. What the fuck ever. Bro, you have to ask Kevin Eastman about Julie Strain. Yeah, you want me to ask Kevin Eastman about his dead ex-wife, bruh? First and probably only time, and I'm actually hoping that maybe I can set up like an interview or something, you know, because like I know the guy runs the con, and we've been at the con every year. PCP, we're known there, but like, so I'm gonna go ask the dude about his dead ex-wife. Really? Come on, bro. They were married, but she was my favorite. Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, you really like, you think I'm gonna like, I'm not gonna ask him about that. Like, I'm nervous as fuck to ask him about Tundra. And sometimes the dude that runs the con, my homie Jeremy, will be like he just pops shit on me, man. He'll come up, he's like, hey man, I need somebody to run the Chris Claremont panel. I need somebody to do the Jim Shooter panel. Will you do it? I'm like, yeah, of course. I mean, I'm not going to pass up the opportunity to meet these people that are part of the history of the organization of the industry. And there's a lot I want to talk to Kevin Eastman about. So I can't wait to meet him. But I mean, I get what you're saying, Spilio. That'd be a great conversation to have, but I'm not comfortable enough with Kevin Eastman to ask him about his dead ex-wife. That's a deal breaker. Like, get this fucking guy out of here. I mean, what the fuck, man? Anyway. Cards fan says, read #1 of Homesick Pilots. That was it. I think it's a good one to sit in the afternoon and like, when the whole thing is said and done, it's 15 issues. I hope they do a deluxe hardcover. That would be great. That would be all completed in one nice deluxe edition. It would be a great like afternoon read, I think, or an ending. Would love to see Rockin Robbie interview Shooter. I'm pretty sure it's still on the Expo's Facebook. If you go to the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo's Facebook, I believe that the Jim Shooter interview was streamed there. That's as close as you're going to get at this point. But I'd like to have him back on. I thought he was a very fascinating person. I really like Jim Shooter. And I had a conversation with him walking back too. I've done 2 panels with Chris Claremont. The first time he was absolutely fucking amazing. I had a great conversation with him about the Fantastic Four and Valeria and the X-Men and like on stage, but then off stage I took him, we went and got a Coke and an ice cream cone. And with Jim Shooter, I got to walk back with him and have some good fucking time with him too. And same with Fabian ECAs or whatever. The second time I did a panel with Chris Claremont, guy was a complete fucking douchebag. Anyway. But I don't hold it against him. It was an awkward situation I was put in. I was told to go run the panel, and he was already up there running it. So then I had to come in there and be like, oh, I'm supposed to be running this. It was such a weird fucking thing. It started off awkward and fucking weird. From now on, if I don't get to meet the person first, I'm not doing a fucking panel. It's so fucking weird to pop up on somebody when she's already, or when they're already fucking up there. It's so weird. Called me young man. That's where that fucking shit comes from. Well, actually, young man. I was like, actually, you don't fucking remember, Chris Claremont. Like, I fucking love you, and I think you're fucking awesome, but you don't fucking remember because you're getting some of your fucking facts wrong, bro. I'm sorry, okay? Anyway, you fucking young man. Don't young man me. I'm fucking 40. I'm a grown-ass man. Chris Claremont, legend in the industry. Rockin Robbie, footnote. But I love Jim Shooter. I know a lot of people have this like contentious thing about him, and they think that he was like this like hard ass dick, and I think that's fine because I think that's what you kind of fucking need. Because CB Cebulski, that ain't fucking it. And what did Jim Shooter lead to? Jim Shooter led to record-breaking fucking modern era comic book sales for Marvel Comics. That's what he fucking did. There you go. Give a fuck how hard ass he was. It takes a hard ass sometimes to make a hard ass fucking product, okay? Now, he was a great dude. I asked him his what he was most proud of in all of everything. What was he most proud of? He said it was the Heroes for Hope book that he put together, where they were able to raise millions of dollars for the famine or the drought or whatever that was going on in Africa at that time. Kegs, what's up? Hey Robbie, one time I met Ice Cube at Lollapalooza 92 and he said to me, no autographs for the Whiteys. I still love him. I think that's fucking even more awesome than getting an autograph. No autographs for the Whiteys. I love it. There's no way you're 40, Robbie. Oh, thank you, Ganja Bars Medium. I really appreciate that. But I am. I am 40. I'm going to be 41 in May. Less than 2 months away. Be 40 fucking 1. I don't believe it. I don't feel it. And I'm not a diebeard. Just so you know. Jim Shooter was really fucking cool. I liked him. Claremont, one of a few legends who gets $1 million a year from Marvel just on trade sales. Yeah, and he also has a contract not to write for it's basically so he doesn't write for DC. And I don't know why they had that. Whenever Chris has tried to write for Image or DC, it doesn't fucking work. It doesn't go well. Chris Claremont's not someone who... Chris Claremont's work is amazing. We just on this very show talked a couple weeks ago about Marvel in the 80s. We did Kitty Pryde and Wolverine. Chris Claremont was great for those days, for those comics. Times have changed. I think he could do a classic feeling comic. He's going to be doing that Gambit series coming up. He just did that issue of X-Men Legends, but it was like a prequel, like lead into Excalibur. Excalibur was not my jam. You know what I'm saying? So I picked it up, but I didn't read it. But I do still have it. I want to read it. But anyway, that being said, Claremont was never able to be in the industry enough to really allow his style to adapt. And sometimes people's style don't adapt and the industry changes and comic books are not read or perceived the same way as they were in the 80s. As much, though, as I love the 80s and 90s throwbacks, I wish they would throw back to the art a little bit better. But I think there's still a place for Claremont in this industry. 40, big deal. Wait till you pass 50. I hope I'm still doing YouTube at 50, though. I hope we're still doing Rockin Robbie fucking live 10 years from now. I hope so. Shit, how long we been doing Rockin Robbie live? When was the first Rockin Robbie live? I'm trying to place it. It was probably like 2016 or 2017, if I had to guess. If it was 2017, this might be our 5th anniversary coming up. I have to look into that. Got to find an excuse to have a big milestone episode of Rockin Robbie Live, don't we? Taki says, word, Cube has evolved since. I bet. At least he didn't say crackers. Mike says, I had trouble reading any of the X books outside of the main 1 or 2. I did at that time because I didn't want to spend all my comic book budget on X books. I wanted to buy other things. To me, it was always the importance level was Fantastic Four, Superman, Iron Man, Batman. That was like the importance level. And then X-Men was down there. So I, for the longest time, only read X-Men. So like in the 90s, I didn't even read Uncanny unless there was a crossover. I just read X-Men up until Madureira. That's when I started reading Uncanny on a regular basis. Would love to get someone... I would love it if someone would get to the bottom of the story where Jim Shooter, where he wanted to kill all the Marvel characters and replace them with new versions, allegedly. I know that the new universe was a big deal to him, and he was trying to do something there, but I've never heard of that. I have to check that out, Mark McGrath. Still have yet to really confirm whether or not Mark McGrath is the Mark McGrath from Sugar Ray, but either way, we appreciate you being here. Miami 30, Auburn 25. All right. Come on, Tigers. It's not making me feel very good. Hey, One Collection Down's in the house. That's Fable. Dude, great show tonight on Blame Fable Tonight with Verno Schmerno. You guys killed it. Another great show. I'm proud to be the official after party for Blame Fable Tonight on Instagram. And yes, here is to 100 years on YouTube station. Hell yeah. 3327. All right. New universe props. I like that shit. I know people talk shit about the new universe, and I've never really dived into it, but I want to. I've ever since the Hickman era of Avengers, I wanted to read Starbrand and Nightmask. Aside from that, I've never read any of that stuff. But I want to. And the thing is, they're really easy to fucking find. They're super cheap. Yeah, New Universe brought us Starbrand. Hell yeah. All right, it's time to switch gears and look ahead at what's coming up in shops this week. We already talked about what our favorite comic books were of last week, but let's look at what's coming up in shops this week. We got Saga 57. Love that I'm caught up on Saga, and I can read it now new, fresh. Detective Comics 1058, that wraps up the Arkham Tower story. Action Comics 1041, Robin number 12, Star Wars Darth Vader 21, Department of Truth 17, the 10 Deaths of Wolverine number 5, Monstrous number 38, Human Target number 6, Harley Quinn 13, Iron Man 18, Teen Titans Academy 13, Gunslinger Spawn 6, Devil's Reign X-Men number 3, Task Force Z number 6, Ben Reilly Spider-Man 3, Dr. Aphra from Star Wars number 19, Venom Lethal Protector number 1, looking forward to that one, Deathstroke Inc. number 7, looking forward to that one. That's not out this week. Fuck, is that out this week? I missed it. It fell in the stack. I missed it. God damn it. Don't worry, I'll read it in time for the weekly comic book review. Avengers Forever number 4, Devil's Reign, Villains for Hire number 3, Shang-Chi number 10, Wolverine Patch number 1. Looking forward to that one. Larry Hama back doing a Wolverine Patch era story. Captain America Iron Man number 5, Savage Spider-Man number 2, Demon Days Blood Feud number 1, Rogues number 1. That's a new DC Black Label book. Elektra Black, White, and Blood number 3, Trial of the Amazons, Wonder Girl number 1, Maestro World War M number 2, Miss Marvel Beyond the Limit number 4, We Have Demons number 1, first time in print, Aquaman Green Arrow, Deep Target number 6, Philadelphia 20, Black Hammer Reborn number 10, Icon and Rocket Season 1 number 6, Power Rangers Universe number 4, Godzilla vs. the Mighty Power Rangers number 1, Ghost Cage number 1. That's a new one from what's his name? Nick Dracota from East of West. That's going to be really cool. Transformers 41, Bolero number 3, G.I. Joe Real American Hero 290, Transformers Beast Wars number 14, Red Sonja number 7, Maniac of New York, The Bronx is Burning number 4, Joy Operations number 5, The Fourth Man number 3, All New Firefly number 2, Until My Knuckles Bleed number 3, Aerosmith Behind Enemy Lines number 3, Barbarella number 8, Hotel Volume 2 number 4, Stranger Things Kamchatka number 1, Girl Scouts Stone Ghost number 5 from Jim Mahfood, Tales Told in Techno Horror Season 2 number 1, Count Crowley, Amateur Midnight Monster Hunter number 1, Armorclads number 1, Lion and the Eagle number 2, Beyond the Beyond number 1, My Bad number 5, A Night's Vengeance number 2, Cover of Darkness number 3, Frankenrocker and the Jailbait Punks number 1. It's from Bad Kids Press. Okay. And Malevolent Rising number 6. So let's just wrap it up there. That's what's coming up in shops this week. What are you looking forward to the most? I'm really looking forward to Girl Scouts. Really looking forward to the David Michelini Venom Lethal Protector. Really looking forward to the Larry Hama Wolverine patch. And really looking forward to Department of Truth. And, of course, Hotel. So what are you looking forward to? We'll chat more when we get back here from this short, quick break here on Rockin Robbie Live. Coming up, the DC Comics sneak peek. I read my DC Comics, minus Deathstroke apparently. Missed it in the stacks. That's okay. We'll recover. When we come back, talking about the DC Comics this week, I've read them, let you know what I thought about them. Peacekeeper and Image in the 90s. We'll be right back.
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name. Check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change. Possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quench the thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic, with this logic, you can't stop it. It's been chronic since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic. Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. No, never stop competing, yeah. I've been doing this, I'm on it. I just wanna be iconic. Sipping on a gin and tonic, got me going off when I'm on this topic, yeah. If I ever play, I want it. You know that I'm always honest. Stay away from those who are toxic. Keep them out your face, no way, you don't want them, yeah. Don't try to drain my energy. The enemy is everything. It's mentally, unhealthily, spreading like a rare disease. But I won't let it get to me. I don't need your therapy. I can leave a legacy of leading by intensity. Come on, we can fight this. Freedom is priceless. Spread just like a virus. Living in a crisis. Do you feel courageous? Do you seek greatness? Trust me, you can take it. Go on and take your aim. Yeah. Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I can change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. No, never stop competing, yeah.
Welcome back, everybody, to Rockin Robbie Live here on Pop Culture Philosophers. We've already had a grand old time talking about movies, comics, pop culture, and a whole lot more. We took a look back to last week at what our favorite comic books were. I loved Homesick Pilots. What did you love? We talked about that. Then we looked ahead at what was coming up in shops this week, and we left you with the question, what are you most looking forward to coming out this week? We'll be addressing those comments here coming soon. Up in this segment, we got the DC sneak peek. We got my thoughts on the Peacemaker series, and we got an image in the 90s. Going to be a great segment, a great bit here on Rockin Robbie Live. Because of you out there in the chat, thank you for joining us. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. You can find podcasts and more at popculturephilosophers.com. You can follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. On Instagram, every Wednesday night at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, I do comics and karaoke with Rockin Robbie live on Instagram, so check that out. On Facebook, you can join the PCP Army. That's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. You can follow me on Twitter at @TheRockinRobbie, and you can support the channel with a super chat, which will trigger something very special. Trust me, the next super chat triggers something very special. I've been keeping and tallying it up in my head. Trust me, it's very special. And you can also support the channel over at patreon.com/PCP. Unlock exclusive benefits like an audio, downloadable version of the weekly comic book review available hours before it's dropped here on YouTube as a video, as well as access to the live recordings of the PCP podcast. We're bringing it back. We got the Bondcast about to drop. You can check the unedited live recording on patreon.com/PCP at the $5 level and up. We got some new people in this house. We got Nick Comic Culture here. What is up, my man? Nick. Yes. How are you doing, bro? I'll be reaching out to you very soon about the monthly review. I want you back, of course. I want you back. Gonna have a great monthly comic book review. Got a lot of great guests being lined up for PCP conversations. We kind of took a hiatus on the PCP conversations, but they will be coming back. They won't be every single week, but they'll be when they are. But let me tell you something. I've had some particular creators reach out to me recently. Friends of the show, fans of the show. Some really exciting guests are being lined up for PCP conversations. Some new faces that you've never seen here on PCP, and some familiar old faces, of course. Friends of the show already, but I'm just going to tell you this. One of the top tier creators in mainstream comics right now has reached out, is a fan of the show, and wants to hop on. And I'm very excited for when you get to find out who that is. Anyway, coming up here at PCP, we got March Madness rolling right on through. We are at the end of March Madness, but have no fear. We still have some great content to come, including The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. We'll be talking and unpacking Dario Argento's directorial debut tomorrow night on PCP Movie Night at 8 p.m. Central Time. And then sometime post 7 p.m. Central Time over at Dylan's Horror Show on Saturday, we're going to be talking about Midsummer. This is a movie that members of the PCP crew, Excitable We Are, have been waiting for me to watch for a long time. And then we're going to wrap it all up with April Fool's Day. Some really, really great stuff coming up here for March Madness. Anyway, how are y'all doing? How are y'all doing? How are y'all doing? Oh, I wouldn't consider Bendis one of the top guys right now, but I mean, I get what you're saying. Nobody's going to guess who it is. All right. What were you looking forward to coming out in shops this week? Let's take a look. Cyforce and DPZ7 are the highlights of the new universe, in my humble opinion. Check those books out, says Mike. Mark says the story comes up in interviews with David Minch, or Doug Minch, and I've never heard it from any other pro about the Jim Shooter stuff. Dun, 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 dun. J.H. Rosa says, hello from Portugal. Hello. Thank you for being here. Jailbait punks, interesting. Sleepy Reader says, sounds like a good week. My bad. And Lion and the Eagle. Taki's excited for Shang-Chi. Big Herm's excited for Maniac of New York. Nova 69's excited for Wolverine Patch and Department of Truth. William's looking forward to Godzilla vs. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So am I. Let's see. Nick is looking forward to Saga, the 10 Deaths of Wolverine and Human Target. Nothing Special is in the house. What's up? Looking forward to Girl Scouts. I think that series is super weird and fun, but different, and I like it. And of course, I always look forward to a new Department of Truth. Me too. Those are two that I cited as two of my favorites. I don't know how I'm going to try to flip your fat ass, Twitch, but we're going to try. Ronald's in the house. What's up, my man? How are you doing? Oh, I wish it was McFarlane. We'll get McFarlane one day. Mark McGrath, who may or may not be from Sugar Ray, says Midsommar is a fantastic movie and a giant in the folk horror subgenre, but if you have seen the original Wicker Man, it loses some of its impact. I love the original Wicker Man. Huh. So they just burn them at the end? But Mark is also excited for Action Comics 1041. Now, Rom V's been on the show before, Ronald, so check that out. Plus, I just had a conversation with Rom, David M. Boer, and Eric Burnham over at Manny's channel, Tomorrow Cinema, so you can check that out as well. All right, we're not going to waste any more time. It's time for the DC Comics sneak peek. So apparently I missed Deathstroke in the stacks at work, but we're going to go with what we got. First up, Trial of the Amazons, Wonder Girl. I want to be into Wonder Woman comics. I want to like this book. It's got artwork by Joelle Jones all the way through, and that is great, and that's cool. But nothing really happens. It's just retreading over the same information. This whole Trial of the Amazons thing has been promising in concept, but very weak and poor in execution, and I honestly think that we're not going to get any more significant action or momentum or movement in this story until Trial of the Amazons #2, which is the concluding chapter. So all these tie-ins are kind of worthless. This was, I guess, supposed to be Wonder Girl #8. It's in fact now this, so if you were collecting that, you want to get this. It was fine. It was wonderfully illustrated, but just story-wise, it fills in the gap. So I guess it's expecting that if you're jumping into Trial of the Amazons, you don't know who Yara Flor is or whatever, it's going to catch you up. And maybe that's why they wanted to renumber this and do a mini-series, because if this is issue 8 of Wonder Girl and you're having to re-explain who she is for everybody, I don't know. But that being said, great arc, interesting concept overall for Trial of the Amazons, but kind of a weak execution. Structurally, that was all over the place as well. Then we got Detective Comics 1058. Let's start with the positives, the backup story. So this is the final concluding chapter of Shadow of the Bat by Matthew Rosenberg and Fernando Blanco, and the concluding chapter from Tamaki of the whole Tower, Arkham Tower story. The backup story concludes in a very awesome way. That would make, if they just put all that out, the Rosenberg and Blanco stuff as a one-shot, I would fucking buy it. It's a really solid Batman story, and it's a great story. Not Batman story, but a great story about the overlooked in Gotham. It's really good. The main story I have not liked, and I do not like this conclusion because it is so anti-fucking climatic. It leaps to resolution, and it's just fucking so all over the fucking place structurally. I don't know what that 12-issue weekly experiment was, but for me, it didn't work. I'm looking forward to a refocus coming up, because most of that, including the cover, is just all a setup for what's coming next. A little too late, I think. Anyway, The Human Target is here with issue #6. I like this series. Sometimes I don't like it when Tom King takes a character that I love and kind of shits on that character's legacy. I think there could be an argument that he kind of does that here a little bit with a certain character, but it works for me. Honestly, I'm digging this story. I love Greg Smallwood. The artwork is magnificent. I'm liking the story. It feels very 40s, 60s detective, and I really dig it. I like it a lot. It's playing free and loose with a lot of different characters, doing some interesting things, but some non-interesting things with them as well. But overall, I kind of fucking like it. They could be anybody. Take out the idea that it's Justice League International, and it would still be a really fucking cool story and magnificent artwork. But the powers of Ice, the way they're portrayed artistically, stunning to me. Ice is stunning to me, I'll tell you that. Action Comics 1041, really great issue. This one focuses mostly on Midnighter. I've liked this story. It's a big, epic, kind of sci-fi fantasy take on Superman. I do feel like the story kind of moves at a snail's pace at times, but I think it's going to be something that when you get to read the whole saga at once or like over a weekend or something like that, it's really going to iron itself out. There is a change in the artwork. It's Dale Eaglesham. Really excited to see his artwork here. Really like the focus in on Midnighter. The focus on the different aspects of Midnighter from Superman, but also how they're similar. So I liked it. It's playing some weird, interesting, for a story that's moving so slow, they do make weird leaps forwards and leaps back, but I'm still liking Action Comics. It's been, to me, the best Superman comic since the Peter Tomasi era of Superman with Jonathan. Missed Deathstroke, and I was thinking about this today. I was reading Robin number 12, and I was like, Robin usually comes out the same week as Deathstroke. I guess it's just a different week because they're about to go into Shadow War. But I don't think it fucking is. I think I just missed it in the stack. I thought I grabbed Deathstroke. Anyway, so I didn't get to read Deathstroke. Deathstroke Inc.'s been one of my favorites. So is Robin. This is issue 12. This officially kind of ends the whole Lazarus Island saga. It's a really good resolution. And the way that the cliffhanger of issue 11 led into this, they dealt with it. They dealt with it more briefly than I thought they would, but they deal with the character of Damian all the way through, and I really appreciate that. I think Joshua Williamson, out of everybody who can write Damian to the fullest of the character's potential, there's only 3 people. I think it's Grant Morrison, obviously, Peter Tomasi, and Joshua Williamson. He understands the character Damian, and he's able to write a well-rounded, fleshed-out character. And I really like that. That was a great conclusion to the whole 12-issue arc, plus an annual or so, of this Lazarus Island story. And then finally, Rogues number 1. This is written by Joshua Williamson. It is artwork by Leah Max, coloring by, I think, Matthew Lopez. Yeah, Matthew Lopez. Hassan Otsman El Hal on the lettering. DC Black Label. Loved this fucking book. So it's about the Rogues, like the Flash Rogues Gallery. So we're talking about Captain Cold. We're talking about Gilded Glider. We're talking about Mirror Master, Trickster, Bronze Tiger's thrown in there. Magenta's thrown in there. Gorilla Grodd's in there. Heatwave. This is great because there's this whole bit in the very opening of the book. I'll show you that. The very opening of the book. And Leo Max was the artist of the very first of the Basket Full of Heads book. Not Refrigerator Full of Heads, but Basket Full of Heads. But it says like Leonard Snart, Leonard Snart as Captain Cold, Lisa Snart as Golden Glider, all the way down. Is featuring Gorilla Grodd as himself. Really like that bit. Really like this book. Love the artwork. Gives it a gritty texture. Makes it feel a little bit old school. It makes it feel like 30s, 40s crime or something, right? I really love the artwork. Really like the story. It's about the Rogues. It's set in the future. The Rogues are retired. They all lead new lives now. And something sparks an idea in Snart's head and Captain Cold's head where he wants to do one more heist. So he's got to go and get the Rogues who are all have turned away from their life of super villainy and super heistery, and they're trying to do their own thing, and Captain Cold's trying to get them wrapped up into the one heist to end them all. So it's got that heist movie Ocean's 11 kind of vibe, but with an older crew. But it was really good. It was funny. It plays free and loose with its characters, but it still honors them. And it's obviously an Elseworlds, but it could be a future with these characters. Really like this book. This was my favorite DC book that I read this week. Apparently I missed Deathstroke, but that means Joshua Williamson's killing it over at DC right now. And Rogues to me was my favorite one. So that was your DC Comics sneak peek. So there you go. Yeah, These Savage Shores is a really good Rom V book. That's the first Rom V book I read. Yeah, I like Mini Desolate Star as well. Hotel or Red Sonja are my most anticipated. Looking to be a light week, says Twitch. I'm glad you're liking Red Sonja. I'm liking the Mirka and Dolfo book a lot. I think it's really good. Ganjabar's Medium, by the way, one of our Patreon supporters, so thank you, Station Ganjabar. Shadow, by the way, whenever Bob and Bueller would list like Patreon, like patrons, or like list the people like talking on the show, sending comments to Coffee and Comments, they would be like Ganjabar's Medium, like they had no clue. Like, I love Bob and Bueller, but sometimes. Spilio says Human Target and Punisher are fantastic. So is Action Comics. Collector P says close game, Robbie. Ugh. Making me nervous. Looking forward to Human Target and Punisher 2, says Card Fan. Hell yeah. Batman De La Ghetto's in the house. Superman stories are making great leaps and single bounds. Hell yeah. Nick says, glad Rogues was good. I was hoping it would be. I loved it. I thought it was great. Now, it's going to feel like a cliche, old-timey heist movie, but I loved it for that, and I fucking love Leah Mack's artwork. I have been lamenting the fact that Leah Max is not doing Refrigerator Full of Heads this entire time. No, it is a miniseries. So most of the DC Black Labels are 3 to 4 issue miniseries. So I don't know if this is 3 or 4 issues, but it's going to probably, the DC Black Labels are not much of a commitment because they also don't release on a regular basis. They're usually like every 2 to 3 months. So I think it's going to be 3 or 4 $6.99 comics and then a nice hardcover afterwards. But it's not a one shot. It's just the setup, but it's really good. If that sounds like, if you like that kind of stuff, I think you're going to like it. I really liked it. I liked it a lot. What do you think of Fourth Man? I was confused by the first issue, Ariaga, so I stopped reading it. But I heard other people. So it has 4 issues at least, says Nick. So I think it might just be a 4-issue series. Maybe it's a little bit longer. They don't do that typically at DC Black Label, but sometimes they do. Last time they went above 4, I think, was well, except for the Prestige Plus, because it's one of those big magazine-sized books. So they'll do longer issues. Anyway, that being said, usually these are like 3 or 4 issues, but the Harley Quinn Joker Criminal Sanity one was pretty good. I'm going to show you another page of the artwork. I probably shouldn't do that, but I don't care. I fucking love this artwork. And I love the coloring. The coloring's done by Matt Lopez. Matt Lopez is the guy who colored, I think colors Evilly on The Dreaming for sure. And I think colored her on Supergirl. Woman of Tomorrow. Can't wait for Swamp Thing Green Hell #2. The artwork is gnarly as fuck, and Jeff Lemire's got an interesting concept going. Really, really like that book, and I love Doug Monkey's artwork there. Did I like any Marvel Max? Hell yeah, I love the Garth Ennis Punisher stuff on Marvel Max. I think it doesn't get viewed very well, but at the time, I really liked the Banner series by Richard Corbin and Brian Azzarello. I know it gets looked at kind of poorly now, but I mean, I'm a big Richard Corbin fan. Marvel Max Alias was amazing. That introduced the character of Jessica Jones. What else, Marvel Max? There was some Western shit by Leonardo Manco that I really fucking liked. Blaze of Glory, maybe, and Apache Skies or something like that. What else? I really liked the first U.S. War Machine series by Chuck Austin, but I hate the fucking cheapened 3-issue follow-up with CG artwork, but I really like the first one that was black and white. I really do like that. I don't have it anymore. I need to find them. What else? That's all that's popping up in my head right now. Lost in Comics Station, what is up, homie? How you doing? Everybody check out Lost in Comics if you haven't already. And since I know for sure we got some blue wrenches in the chat right now, can somebody throw up a link to Sleepy Reader 666 and Lost in Comics? Because those are two channels you definitely need to be subbed up for if you're not already. Saw that the Joker is going to issue 15, not 14. Okay. Throwing an extra one in there. That's cool. Cards fan says, yeah, I've jumped off into these horror comics. I was crazy about the show Supernatural. That took me down a rabbit hole of horror. Hell yeah. I think Spilio and Cards fan just became best friends. I don't know if he'll like a Rays fan, though. I guess you're a Rays fan, but Cards, are National League. So, no clashing there. You guys can be best friends. I'm not necessarily liking Joker. I don't think overall, but we'll fucking see. I don't think it's going to be something I want to keep in my collection because I've already stopped buying them actually. And I don't think it's something I would want to buy a collection of, but I don't know. I got to start being, I'm very particular about what I'll buy for my shelf nowadays. I say that, but I'm like, y'all check out my fucking haul. I got the Union from Marvel. From Image. I got the Union by Mark Tex and, yeah, so maybe, whatever. Hey, Jelani's in the house station. If you want to see Jelani on the channel, next time you're going to get to see him is going to be tomorrow night with Bird with Crystal Plumage. Very excited for that. And Midsummer on Saturday night for Dylan's Horror Show. Joker needed to be a 6-issue run, says Nick. At least 12. I think 12. Get one good hardcover out of it. But they'll get one good hardcover out of 15. We'll see if they stick the ending, but the reveal that they just did is the most fucking obvious goddamn reveal and does not mix up. And I love Matthew Rosenberg for the most part. I think Matthew Rosenberg is a really cool, solid creator. Don't like everything he does, but I'd like a lot of what he does. But there is some revelation in a recent issue of Joker that feels so disconnected from what's going on in Task Force Z. To which I saw Matthew Rosenberg on Twitter say something like, as if we don't talk to each other and know what we're doing. Bruh, I'm not saying y'all don't, but it doesn't seem like fucking editorial or your fucking publisher does. Cause to me, it's confusing as fuck. Cause it's an obvious goddamn thing that Tynan's laying out. And then your book was fucking twisting us around and making us be like, oh, so it's not going to be the obvious answer. Oh, but it is the obvious. What the fuck? What the fuck ever? You can't, whatever. That's a bad reveal. That's a bad reveal. Thank you, Big Herm. Throwing out those links. Don't hate me because of the Rays, okay? Hey, we got baseballs coming back. That's fucking awesome. I'm excited. How's that Auburn game looking, y'all? Jelani, you're here. What's the Auburn game looking like? Are we in halftime now? What's the score? Auburn, Miami. Are you aware of this, Jelani? Our Tigers are playing right now in the March Madness. Yet you're here bullshitting with Rockin Robbie Live for some fucking reason. I have to be here. Why are you here? I could have moved everything into Studio B. I understand where the TV's set up, but I didn't. 41-32? 41-32 Miami? 41-32 Miami? Are you telling me Miami's in the fucking lead? Who's in the lead? Is that Miami? God, I'm fucking worried. I don't think DC's going to close up shop and give their titles to other publishers. That rumor's been in effect since the 70s. It almost happened in the late or early 80s, I should say. Almost happened, but it didn't. God damn it. I'm cool. I'm not even watching it. Cool. We're just doing it here. Let's talk about something I really like. Jelani, I'm glad you're here. Guess what I finally fucking watched, Jelani? I finally watched Peacemaker. Let's talk about it. Peacemaker. This series was fucking awesome. So this is the HBO Max original series that debuted in January. Everybody else has already seen it. They already know that it's good or that whether or not they don't like it. I just watched it. I sat down Friday. I had some extra time in the evening, and I decided, let me watch the first episode of Peacemaker. I watched 5 fucking episodes. Then I watched 2 last night, and I watched 1 today, thus completing the show Peacemaker. Of course, created, I guess we can say, by James Gunn. You know, Peacemaker, of course, is a Charlton Comics character, kind of the brief, slight basis for the comedian in a way for, what is it, The Watchmen. But I loved it. I am a big James Gunn fan, and I was very impressed with this series. And yes, it does have an absolutely amazing ballin' ass opening that I never skipped, watched all the way through. John Cena plays a really fantastic character here. Chris Smith, aka Peacemaker, freaking great. Now, James Gunn's Suicide Squad, I was kind of let down by. I gave it like a 3.5. So I liked it, but I didn't like it as much as I wanted to. But I did like John Cena in the role, but it just kind of felt awkward and weird. It all meshes together here. In fact, the entire team meshes together here. Every actor, the whole cast, it really freaking works. And they have a really great chemistry all together, where we have straight characters and we have obvious comedic characters. And the way they get to play off of each other is absolutely freaking amazing. So let's talk about Danielle Brooks as Adebayo. I really liked her in this show. When it first started, she felt so out of place. She's Amanda Waller's daughter. What? Like, this is so weird and out of place, but I found myself genuinely involved in her story and really liked her arc throughout. Then we got, let's talk about Harcourt. Jennifer Holland as Amelia Harcourt. Harcourt has my heart in this fucking show. I got into her. I thought she was a great character. I really liked her. She was super badass. And her whole arc, too, was really freaking well done. Like it was well done. James Gunn's a really solid writer. Now, he did direct 5 of the 8 episodes, and I applaud him for that. Then we have Myrn. That's Chidwudi Iwuji, I believe. Clemson Myrn. It became one of my favorite characters. Now, Myrn and Harcourt are like the straight man to everybody else's insane comedic timing and style. And they work so freaking well. And the way they're able to take this character as a threat to not a threat to a threat again, to just bouncing that around and then make it kind of like a tragic loss when what happens, really amazed me. John Economos, Steve Agee. I thought this would be a character that annoyed the shit out of me, but really loved it. And once again, he has a fucking arc too. Everybody in this show has an arc, including Vigilante. So this is Adrian Chase, Vigilante, played by Freddie Stroma. I used to read Vigilante comics back in the day. When I was a kid, I thought Vigilante was kind of cool. This is not anything like the fucking comic book character of Vigilante. But I don't give a shit. I think it's fucking awesome. I think it's hilarious. Portraying this dude as his relationship, first of all, with Peacemaker is really kind of charming and endearing. But also the fact that he's kind of like an imbalanced, not so good, like fucking psychotic sociopath. It works so freaking well. Then we got Robert Patrick. Always enjoy seeing the T-1000 in anything. But he's playing the White Dragon, the dad of Peacemaker. Doesn't even look silly when he's putting on the costume. It still looks cool. And yeah, playing a racist bigot piece of shit, but he does it really well. So there you go. And then Judo Master, y'all. Judo Master cracked me the fuck up. The whole bit with the flaming hot Cheetos and just fucking hilarious. The size, bruh. So fucking awesome. And then we got the little bugs, the little butterflies, alien invasion type story. They keep trying to, they do this like nuance kind of thing back and forth with like, is it a just war? Is it not? Is it this? And then the way it ends kind of rocks, but like the nuance they put even into this alien invasion story works for me works really well and is very reminiscent of a James Gunn movie that I really love that we covered on Dylan's Horror Show, which is Slither. But the star of everything is Eagly. Eagly is the fucking star of this entire show. Fuck your baby Yodas, your Grogus, fuck your baby Groots. It's all about Eagly to me. I hugged my cat every fucking time I saw Eagly on screen. And the action is really good too. It's hilarious. It's intriguing. It's fun. And yes, the Justice League bit at the end and the version I saw didn't have the added Cyborg and Batman and the whole Aquaman fucking fish thing. That was great too. Peacemaker, I thought was incredibly well done. It blew me away. And I thought it was better than Suicide Squad. I think it's one of the best things I've seen set in the DCEU. John Cena is amazing. The entire cast is amazing. And James Gunn's scripts are fan-fucking-tastic because he's able to bring, more so to this than he does the Guardians franchise, he's able to bring that trauma sensibility in and play around in the DC universe. I'm going to give this 4.5 ya dings. What do you think about Peacemaker? And even though the show is ridiculously funny and Peacemaker and all these other characters are acting like crazy and wild and doing bits and it's this and that, it's got so much heart and charm, and every single fucking character has an arc that is believable and real and it works together, but at the same time it's so fucking funny and it's adventurous and it's a romp. Come on, y'all. Love the show. What do y'all think? Do you want to really taste it? Fuck yeah. It does have one. I got tired of everybody talking about the fucking opening of Peacemaker because I wasn't watching it. I was like, yeah, whatever the fuck. Nah, that shit's fucking dope, y'all. Shit is dope. 45-37. Okay. Empire Comics says, loved Peacemaker. Jelani says, good, I told you it was awesome. Do you really want to taste it? Fucking shit was awesome. Spilio says, Peacemaker was the shit. Oh, shut up, Twitch. You don't know anything about War Eagle. Ronald says, still need to check it out. Jelani says, James Gunn is a genius. The only John Cena I enjoy. You're not a fan of his wrestling personality. This shows you, though, there's a John Cena with what he's able to do with his film career is showing you how wasted he was at WWE. Jelani says, Harcourt is my favorite character. Outside of Eagly, she's my favorite character. Might think about getting HBO for the Penguin series, though. Penguin rocked. Yeah, you should get it for if you get it for the Penguin series, definitely check this one out because I had a lot of fun. I didn't like that Suicide Squad movie, but now I want to rewatch it because I am a huge James Gunn fan. I love Slither. And the two Guardians movies are like two of my favorite MCU films. Both of them, I think, are in my fucking top 5. Or they're definitely both of them in my top 10. Vigilante is my third favorite. Diebeard. And just the way they fucking do the Diebeard thing, like it's his admission towards the, I don't want to spoil it for the people that haven't seen it. It's fucking hilarious. It's hilarious, but it's also fucking so nuanced and it packs a punch. And there are moments where I'm like, it's getting too on the nose with saying like some kind of modern statement about society. But then it twists it around and it's not that at all. Holy shit. Spilio says, Vigilante was the star of the show. Fucking loved it. Judo Master, the Lost Charlton action hero. Absolutely. And the way they use him, when he's sitting there, he's like, oh, big man. And he's just always eating flaming fucking Cheetos. Oh, my God. Jelani gives it 5 you digs. What do you give Peacemaker, y'all? I'm going to go 4.5. It's an almost 5, you digs, though. It's the high point. Lost in Comics says, well, damn, now I got to watch it. James says, agreed, 5, you digs. Spilio says, 5, you digs. Joe says, Peacemaker was awesome. I love the opening. The actor who plays Judo Master wanted to quit acting. 5, you digs. Jelani says, my candidate for show of the year. Twitch says, I've only watched the first 3 episodes so far. Have you watched Harley Quinn yet? No, I have not. I've been wanting to rewatch Sopranos, Justified, and Twin Peaks. But I was like, I got to watch Peacemaker first. The problem is, I also skipped out on Boba Fett. And after everything I've heard, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it through Boba Fett as quickly as I did fucking Peacemaker. Harley is not in it. He's talking, I think, about the animated series, which I hear is really good. There is no wrong time to rock. Most people are giving it 5. I think maybe I'm being a little bit harsh, but I'm going 4.5 just because there are times where it seems like it's a little on the nose in its messaging. But then it does kind of redeem that. But I think a 4.5 is pretty solid for it. Ronald is in. Mark McGrath says, I loved Peacemaker. If I had any quibble at all, I guess I wish that the vigilante wasn't named Adrian Chase. Love Vigilante in the show, but they could have given him a different secret identity. Gotcha. Taki says Bono Fett isn't that bad. Now, I'm not talking about Bono Fett, which is the Star Wars U2 collaboration. I'm talking about Boba Fett. Jelani says Harley Quinn is excellent. Yeah, all those Netflix Marvel shows are now at Disney Plus, and one cool thing I did hear is that they didn't edit anything, so that's cool. But apparently you have to unlock adult Disney. Ooh. Adult Disney. Oh, what are they getting into there? Lost in Comics says, maybe I'm in the minority, but I rather enjoyed Boba Fett all the way through. I've heard people that really like it. So I will check it out. But I want to revisit Sopranos. It's been fucking years. I want to rewatch Twin Peaks so I can finally watch the Showtime return because I've never seen it. And I want to rewatch Justified because it's coming fucking back, y'all. It's coming fucking back. 53-43, man. Jesus fucking Christ. All right. I wasn't going that fucking far, Jelani. Jesus. But okay. Oh, Boba Fett. Yeah, that shit's whack. All right. Watch Battlestar, says Fable. Well, I almost did, and I thought you guys were talking about the fucking old school one. Apparently you're talking about the fucking newer one. I almost watched the wrong fucking Battlestar. I feel like I gotta watch the original first, though. I feel like my nerd cred means I gotta watch it. But man, nah. It's Peacemaker, and I don't know. I don't know if I'm going into Boba Fett next. I just might be like, you know what? Fuck it. Twin Peaks. Because I want to watch. I gotta watch the new fucking Twin Peaks. Because why didn't I watch it to begin with? But I want to rewatch Twin Peaks. That's not going to take too long. Twin Peaks, Sopranos, Justified. Boba Fett in there somewhere. Moon Knight, when it comes out, we'll be following that. In fact, let's run a contest. We need a name for the upcoming segment week to week here on Rockin Robbie Live, in which I talk about the show Moon Knight, episode by episode. We have had such segments as A Critical Incision on WandaVision, Talking Low Key on Low Key, What If We Talked About What If, and Shooting Straight Is Hawkeye Great. But what are we going to call the Moon Knight segment? I need some suggestions. Give me some good suggestions. Right? Maybe point them out in the PCP Army or on Twitter. Find me. Give me some good suggestions. If we pick a suggestion that is given by one of y'all, we'll send you a prize. It's like a name the letters pages kind of contest, but it's a name the bit. Name the Moon Knight bit. Moon Knight with Moon Knight? I don't know about that one. Mark says, my kid and I watched The Sopranos and all of Twin Peaks a couple years ago. Good times. The return will blow your hair back. I'm going right into fucking Twin Peaks. I might fucking rewatch Twin Peaks starting tonight. Plus, I did watch the first episode of Westworld like months ago and never watched any more. So I got that on the table too. But I am glad that I watched Peacemaker. I fucking thought that shit was dope. 4.5 you digs. Why am I not giving it 5? The moon phasing of Moon Knight. A Moon Knight on this Moon Knight. I don't know about these. Episodes of Moon Knight by the Moonlight. Getting right with Moon Knight. Oh, I like some of these. Getting right with Moon Knight. Episodes of Moon Knight by the Moonlight. I'm kind of liking this kind of vibe. Getting in tight with Moon Knight. I'm kind of liking this vibe of like talking by the moonlight about Moon Knight or some shit like that. Because we do Rockin Robbie lives at night. It'll be at night. Lunar encapsulated. That's not bad. Getting in tight with Moon Knight. Yeah. Khonshu review. Getting right with Moon Knight. I think Fable's onto something here. Moonlight, Moon Knight. Does it have to be Moon Knight, Moonlight? Moon Knight by the Moonlight? Moon Knight by the Moonlight. Talking Moonlight by the Moonlight. I think we just fucking got it. Talking Moonlight. Wait. This is going to be hard for me to say. Talking Moon Knight. Talking Moon Knight by the Moonlight. We're going with that. Unless somebody else knocks me off my socks. And if we go with that, we're going to give the prize to both Twitch and Fable. Tyler says the Moon Knight segment should change names every time, but we never acknowledge that it's different. The moon phasing of Moon Knight. Yeah. Full Moon Knight review. Get in line with Moon Knight or there will be a fight. Moonlighting with Moonlight. What about moonlighting with... How about moonlighting with moonlighting? We review moonlighting instead. Moon Knight gotten right. I hope so, Sleepy Reader. I think talking Moon Knight by the Moonlight fits in. Yeah, moonlighting's not that it's not that fucking bad, Jelani, because of the moonlighting. Moonlighting. Ugh. Who was the first one to make that connection with moonlighting? Oh, I don't know, man. Now I'm. How many people? What if the whole fucking graphic was like moon knighting and it was like Sybil Shepherd and fucking Bruce Willis? Was it Sybil Shepherd? Is that who it was? Dancing in the Moon Knight, a little yacht rock for us. Mooning the Moon Knight. Egyptian warrior Moon Knight. Moon Knight gotten right. I really hope so. Like I said. Moon Knighting with Moon Knight. Talking Moon Knight by the Moonlight. That sounds like it fits with our whole bit. My favorite of which still, y'all, is What If. We talked about What If. Wasn't my favorite segment to do. My favorite segment to do was probably Critical Incision on WandaVision. But talking low-key on Loki was really good too. The critical director of Mark Spector. I think we're going to go with Talking Moon Knight by the Moonlight. Talking Moon Knight by the Moonlight here on Rockin Robbie Live at the end of the month. We're like 10 days away from the fucking debut. So glad we got that put out. The mini phases of Moon Knight. That's a good one too. That's a good one. We're going with Talking Moon Knight by the Moonlight. That means we're getting Fable and Twitch a prize. We'll find you something. We'll get it out to you within the next 2-3 months. All right. It's time for one of our favorite segments here. Something in the Something. Oh, yeah, that's right. I got to cut this out into a video like a few months later from now. Hold on. Let's be professional, y'all. All right, y'all. Now it's time to dive back. How far back in time to Image in the what? Image in the 90s. And tonight we're talking about Wildstar. Wildstar from Al Gordon and Jerry Ordway. Now, first and foremost, I am a huge fan of Jerry Ordway. I like his art. It's classic. It's superhero. He's got a great run on Power of Shazam. He's got a great run on Adventures of Superman. I have met Jerry Ordway. I got him to sign a Power of Shazam #1, and in Adventures of Superman, I think it was a 400 or something. So I am a fan of this cat's artwork, and I vaguely remembered Wildstar from when it first came out. This is 1993, so this was in phase 2 of Image Comics. And this is technically called Wildstar Sky Zero. It is, in fact, a 4-issue series that was meant to latch on to that Image success, propel it through with the introduction of a new superhero, Wildstar, and also it tries to deliver a really interesting time travel, timey-wimey, twist-ending story. Let's get into it. First of all, I love the artwork. I am a huge fan of Jerry Ordway, but this does feel like two squares trying to fit into the Image eye peg, if that makes sense. Sometimes it feels like they're trying to be a little bit too edgy. Sometimes they're not edgy enough. But let's talk about it. So we start, it's in the future. Wildstar's running around looking for this time machine. He's being hunted down by these people. They got these symbiotes on them. We'll get more into that, but he's being hunted down by these dudes. He's trying to find this time machine. And immediately I am involved in this story because this moment right here where Wildstar rips this dude's face off, it's pretty dope. He's actually ripping off the symbiote that's attached to it so that he can kill it and destroy it. But apparently he's been trying to find this, like, some kind of piece of technology for decades, a decade and a half, right? There's a character right there. I can't remember what she's called. Jumpstart, I think. She's got the hots for Wildstar. We'll get into that a little bit more later. But this group, they're after him for some reason. He winds up getting to this device. We're introduced to this, like, nerdy kid. Why? We'll find out later on. But they're fighting him. They're in the future. And he winds up getting this piece of technology, and he goes back in time. And the artwork, like I said, I like Jerry Ordway, but this does not fit that Image vein. Nor does Al Gordon's scripting feel very good at all. In fact, the script is kind of weak, but the art does still shine for what it is and for what it's trying to do. And we're introduced to this, like, godlike figure very quick, and she explains that Wildstar's in a time loop. He hits the button, then we flash back to now, presumably, I guess, 1993, and that's where we are, right here. And so we're introduced to this kid, Mickey, and his father, and they're connected to this scientific lab that's studying this piece of technology that they believe may be a time device. And then an earthquake happens, and it turns out that the whole place gets wiped out, right? So they go, and this is the time travel device. So Wildstar has teleported or time traveled this entire space back 30 years back in the past, and there he is. And he winds up meeting this Mickey kid, and he's like, oh my God, it's actually you. By the way, this dude's name is Michael, and this kid's name is Mickey, and it's supposed to not be obvious because it's the big twist revealed at the end of issue 3, but they're the same fucking person. So this is that dude in the past. He's this kid. He's got this starfish-looking thing on his chest that gives him power, but it's also this symbiotic thing. He's back in past. Why? He's trying to stop this beacon that's going to bring some alien race back into the past earlier than they should, which causes this giant war. It's a total thematic ripoff of Terminator 2, Judgment Day. And they even make references to that in these issues. Like, some called it Judgment Day, but we called it Sky Zero. And then somebody's like, oh, you like James Cameron much? Like, they even know exactly what they're doing. Then we get into issue number 2. Turns out that when he threw himself back in time, it wasn't just him, but also those dudes that were after him. A whole crew of people trying to stop him from doing what he's trying to do. Basically, because he's trying to undo his timeline, even though apparently he's been stuck in a time loop trying to do it. They're trying to stop him from erasing their timeline because they're like the big bullies of that timeline. So then we go into issue number 2, and it kicks off in like a dream sequence. And this is probably the best sequence in the entire book. It's big, it's explosive, it's the most like a Image comic from this era, and it's really a forecast of the Brian Hitch, Warren Ellis widescreen dynamic and effect that was going to come into prominence in the late 90s with books like The Authority, right? So this is a really great dream sequence where he dreams that he's fighting this villain. It's a silent segment, and he gets killed. But then he wakes up and he's in the car with this kid, Mickey, the younger version of himself, but we're not supposed to know about that yet. He's explaining all this kind of stuff. What's going on? He's back. He's got to stop this beacon. He's got to stop this alien attack. They're working with different corporations in different countries, and it's the U.S. versus another thing. And they always say that the aliens are there because they find a special something on Earth, but they never fucking reveal whatever the hell it is. He's damaged. He's been taken to the spot. He's going to meditate and heal. The kid leaves, picks up this random nerd. He's going to be integral to the story later on. For what reasons, who knows? So the villains who traveled back with Wildstar are talking to Mickey's dad, to Wildstar's dad, and now they got the general involved, and they want to be taken to where this beacon is because they're the ones that have the beacon. They want to make sure the beacon survives so that their future, their lives survive. Wildstar's trying to stop that beacon, to stop this horrible future. The general and Wildstar / Mickey's dad has their own issues with each other, and the chick, Jumpstart, has a crush on Wildstar, so she's going to wind up leaving the group and helping Wildstar. I'm just getting ahead of myself because there's really not too much to this, right? So it is a little bit like Terminator. All these different pieces kind of get thrown together, and Wildstar shows back up. He's trying to fight these dudes off. He's trying to stop the beacon. They're convincing the military that they need to allow the beacon to go. Plus, the military is working with this alien race, and they have nefarious experiments underneath. Like I said, it's pretty well done in those first few issues artistically, but it doesn't give you some of the wham and the pow of what we know from Image Comics, right? And Jerry Ordway did this in between his DC gigs. So it didn't come out month to month, but it did all come out 4 issues within the same year. This leads us to Wildstar number 3. So at the end here, Wildstar, who is Michael, picks up his younger self, Mickey, and takes off with him to go and find this beacon, right? And then in the 3rd issue, we have Savage Dragon showing up, right? So there they are, and they're flying. They're trying to get to this place, trying to figure out what's going on. We get a little bit more explanation, lots of verbosity on these pages, lots of overly exposition to exposition, right? But then, of course, we got them being chased down. We got the kid's dad involved and the general there again. And then, of course, Savage Dragon in between, like probably issue 5 and 6 or something. I don't fucking know. I haven't read all the ongoing stuff yet. But Savage Dragon is on his way to the airport from a previous mission. And he's like, I'm so tired of superheroes. I wouldn't even fight one if one landed in my lap. Wildstar falls in his lap, leads to a big fight. We'll get back to that later. They're showing them the special base that they have. That's where the beacon is located. That's where everybody is trying to get. So then we get this, of course, obligatory fight between Savage Dragon and Wildstar. And Wildstar, I believe, has been purchased from Al Gordon and Jerry Ordway, who apparently had some creative differences in the direction of this series, which led to Jerry Ordway leaving the project. After this initial 4-issue series, it returned for an ongoing, but it got canceled after 3 issues. And that was done by Al Gordon as well, but a different penciler coming in. So we get the big fight between him and Savage Dragon, and now the military's there. Savage Dragon's not trying to work for them. And I want to point out the coloring right now. Rather drab in these issues. When I was putting these thumbnails together, I was able to really look at them at a smaller scale and noticing how brown all the colors become. Like there's a little bit of contrast here with the green and the orange, but it's not really powerful or dynamic enough it all kind of muddies itself together. But like I said, Jerry Ordway is a very capable, crafty hand at comic books, but it just doesn't quite fit, right? It's trying to be too edgy, but it's not delivering an impact, and it's involving Savage Dragon, but not quite enough. He's just kind of there to fight, and it's like you have all this complexity going on, and you only have 4 issues to tell it, and you're throwing in a gratuitous cameo. Why? Who knows? But I do believe Eric Larson has bought the rights to Wildstar and still uses Wildstar in random issues of Savage Dragon. So young Mikey, young Wildstar, is dying. He gets injured. He's about to die. So old Mickey, who was Michael, who was Wildstar, decides he needs to peel off his symbiote, give it to Mickey so that Mickey can then get the symbiote earlier and become Wildstar, and then he dies. So he sacrifices himself to save. Now, this is the moment where we're supposed to realize for the first time that this dude's the same person as this kid, though it's pretty fucking obvious all the way through. He gets the power, chick's all into him. He disappears in the dust. He's like, what am I supposed to do? This is crazy. He's Wildstar. He's got the powers now. Then we get into the final issue. This is where it gets really fucking wonky. If it didn't already sound wonky, it gets wonkier. So now they're in this secret base. He's trying to stop the beacon. The people from the future are trying to keep the beacon. Now the chick Jumpstart's working with him. And it's a decent enough kind of setup for the ending. They're all having this big climactic fight and battle. They have the little bit there with Savage Dragons there. And he's like, you know what? The military's like, you're not allowed to know anything about this. And he's like, you know what? I don't want to fucking know anything about this. I'm out of here. So he just leaves. Meanwhile, General has actually been doing these crazy experiments in this secret base. He's got this crazy monster in the tank. It's the monster that Wildstar dreamed of killing him. So that was the time loop, but he has broken the time loop by giving the symbiote to his younger self. So his younger self is learning how to use his powers with the aid of Jumpstart, is fighting these dudes from the future, trying to stop him from erasing their future, thus their existence. And then he crashes into the tank. He has to fight this monster. Meanwhile, this dude just talks to a computer and hacks into this whole thing and does something weird and mysterious. We'll get back to that in just a second. More big fighting, more big slam bang type stuff. The future has been changed. They're trying to stop. They're trying to win the day. And ultimately, they kind of do. Jumpstart kind of, jumps on his side. They take out these dudes. And then it gets to this fucking random ending where Wildstar, young Wildstar, is about to fucking die and be killed by this dude. And then that mysterious goddess type figure shows back up at the end and says, oh, it's me the whole time. I started the time loop because I sent you back. But before that, it wasn't a beacon that brought these aliens down to Earth. It was me causing a ripple in time and space when I went back into time because she just loves the fashion and the music of the fucking 90s. So her going back to the 90s, and she's in between man and God. She keeps fucking repeating as if that's a goddamn explanation. So it's all fucking over the place. She shows up. She's like, oh, I love the 90s so much that I like to come here, but it caused a ripple in space and time. So I sent Wildstar back to try to fix it, but it caused this time vortex, this time fucking loop, and it's complicating things more. And now my godlike being parents know that me, so now they've made me immortal. And she's trying to convince Wildstar to join her to create this new timeline to prevent this terrible ending, this terrible future for humanity that she has actually fucking caused. And the whole beacon thing was just a bullshit fucking lie. And Wildstar just gets fucking pissed. And it's basically like, fuck you, I'm grabbing my dad and I'm out. And then it loops back 25 years later. He's in the same fucking situation. So that's Wildstar. Doesn't seem like I liked it, right? I didn't really. It was interesting enough. So here's my copies. First issue's got this really nice embossed foil kind of cover. And yeah, the artwork's fine. The first issue's got a little bit more newsprinty. Then it gets glossy for the next ones. But Jerry Ordway's art is fine, but it does not fit for an image book. They try to go big and explosive, dynamic and edgy, but it doesn't really quite deliver on it. The writing is quite bad. It is very derivative, of course, of Terminator 2, and it acknowledges that. Now we're in this glossy paper. This is the best segment right here. You got this dude's guts like fucking hanging out, but it just doesn't feel like it. Stephen Platt, the shit is not. It's overly verbose in certain moments, but I do appreciate this character's, I guess, legacy in Savage Dragon. And so knowing that, I like that Savage Dragon's in there. That's a pretty cool fight. That's a pretty cool moment, but it's kind of worthless. And the big twist that happens in these pages just does not work. And I really love the Eric Larson Savage Dragon making fun of the whole like Frank Miller writes Spawn number whatever, right? I love that. Eric Larson writes Savage Dragon number 5. Anyway, and then the final issue is just fucking drivel. It really is. Like, it's gearing up to like a pretty decent action-packed. I read this twice. First time I read this, I did not like it whatsoever. But the second time, a lot of it ironed out for me, but not this 4th issue. Because it's building up to some really cool stuff, and then all of a sudden this character shows back up at the end and is like, oh, there is no beacon. I'm the one that caused this whole catastrophe. I made it worse by sending you back in the time over and fucking over and over, and it over-explains it just to have the dude fucking leave, which is to set up a mini-series or an ongoing series that only goes 3 issues and gets canceled. So overall, I didn't really like it. It has potential, but it doesn't live up to that potential. It's not written very well. It's jumbled all over the fucking place. But I do like Jerry Ordway. So it's a cool kind of spot in his career. And if I ever am at a con where Jerry Ordway's at again, I will proudly have him sign my Wild Star number 1. So I'm glad I read it. I'm glad I checked it out. I'll give it 2.5 you digs out of 5. Mostly for the artwork and its potential, but it is all fucking over the place. Jelani says 3 you digs. Ah, man, Miami's kicking the shit out of us. That's okay. That's okay. I can only see Ordway draw Superman, says Jelani. Yeah, and that's kind of the problem. It's a really odd choice. We're talking about Image Wave 2. We're talking about Wildstar. We're talking about like shit like Pitt and the Max. And it's like, this is like an SAT question. Which one of these does not fit? Spilio says, what's funny is I have these issues. Cardsfan says, Wildstar, used to love that 2 series, right? Great stuff. Yeah, I thought it was all right. I just remember him ripping off that star off his chest and sticking it on someone else. Yeah, and there's some moments where it does look gnarly and cool. But yeah, I'm going to go 2.5. Doesn't really work so much for me. But it was nice to go back and check that out for the first time. And glad I have it in my collection. And like I said, if I ever meet Jerry Ordway again, I will proudly have him sign my copy of Wildstar number 1. And that's been Image in the 90s. And with that, we're taking a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about Jet Li's Fearless. We're going to be talking about our top 5 movies in 1978, an X-Men animated series, episode 9, The Cure, and Show and Tell, and the rest of the show. Thank you guys so much already. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget, next Super Chat, something super special happens. Y'all are not going to want to miss that. We'll be right back after this short break here on Rockin Robbie Live.
It's supposed to feel.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life. I never miss, that's fact, taking big swings, bitch, hand me the bat, put me in the ring, you'll go out in a bag, cause I sing what I mean and I bring it to the mad light. Ain't got time to kill, I got time to feel, I took the red pill, I know life's short so I wanna live real, but how's it supposed to feel?
How's it supposed to feel?
How's it supposed to feel? wanna say they hate, but they know it's cap. I ain't play no games, I just do that's fact. And I don't feel no shame, it's a mood you lack. I go crazy, nah bitch I ain't lazy. Track after track, I work on the shit daily. Pass me the jack, right as fuel, got me hazy. About to unpack all these things I've been chasing. I've got visions in my head, like memories after death. To be a legend instead of something you can forget. I'm living up every breath, I'd rather lead than be led. I'll fill the seats as I spread, with every word that I've said.
How's it supposed to feel?
How's it supposed to feel?
Hey everybody, welcome back to Rockin Robbie Live here on Pop Culture Philosophers. Join the PCP Army. That's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. If you're on Facebook, follow Pop Culture Philosophers there. We're also on Instagram, where I do my weekly Wednesday night comics and karaoke show at 6:30 p.m. Central Time on IG Live. Don't forget that IG Live's best TV show, or best IG TV show, is Blame Fable tonight. We are the official after party of that, so be sure to check that out if you missed it after this show concludes. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter at @TheRockinRobbie, and you can check us out for podcasts and more at popculturephilosophers.com, and you can support the channel over at patreon.com/PCP, like these fine PCP patrons right here, or with Super Chat. And like I said, the next Super Chat triggers something very nice that y'all won't want to miss. And Nick Comic Culture has come right through. My man, who is also one of our patrons. You will see him right there in that name listed. Nick from Comic Culture says, how's it supposed to feel? Let me tell you about this little man I know. His name is Hellboy. He was sent to the earth some long time ago to save it or destroy. Brought to this earth by Rasputin, son of a demon and a nun who had sex with the demon, but was raised by Professor Broom. Now he fights evil and monsters. Shit. And he fights with the man who's a fish named Abe. Now he fights with the fire starter and an ectoplasmic mess named Johann. PPRD. Yo, but how's it supposed to feel? All right. Thank you so much, Nick. I was going to do that earlier, and then I decided to do that Onslaught one instead, and it didn't really work. So thank you, Nick, because if not, I was going to throw a $1 one out myself. Can you give yourself a super chat? Does that break the system? Because that's what we're all about here. Anyway, my Sifu, Bullseye Bob, has been sending me on a journey of kung fu movies. He's been sending me from modern to classic. And I'm so excited tonight to talk about this movie. It's from 2006, directed by a director I'm familiar with, Ronnie Yu. We're talking about Jet Li's Fearless. So, Fearless is a 2006 film directed by Ronnie Yu, who we know as the director of Freddy vs. Jason and Bride of Chucky. But this was his return to Chinese cinema, to Hong Kong cinema, and this is him teaming up with Jet Li to tell the story of Ho Wanjia, or Ho Wanju, or Ho Wanjin, or something like that. Anyway, a legend in Japanese folklore. So let's talk about this film. Jet Li plays this character, and it's set in the early 1900s and the late 1800s, and it's about his life. And this is one of the absolute best performances I have ever seen from Jet Li. Blows me away. So his father was a martial arts expert, an expert in wushu, an expert in kung fu. And he was the champion of this town until he was distracted one day by his son, who he always wanted his son, Jet Li's character, Ho, to study and not be a fighter. He was distracted by him being there one day instead of studying, showed up to see his father fight. He lost that champion status. That's something that always plagued Jet Li. So then it clips right over into the modern, or into a little bit more of the modern day. It does some interesting things structurally, and apparently there's a director's cut that adds in a whole bit where they're trying to get wushu put into the Olympics, but I didn't watch that. But anyway, we cut to Jet Li as Ho, as a young fighter, and he's trying to be the master of his town. He's just whipping the shit out of all of these people, and he is the master of his town. Nobody can beat him. All these people show up, and he's got a friend. It's his best friend since he was a kid. He runs a restaurant. He's allowed Jet Li's character to show up and drink, and he's gaining disciples. He's gaining notoriety. But there's one dude, a childhood rival of him, who refuses to fight him. So one day, this dude has one of his disciples claim to be beaten by this master, I think it's Master Jin or something like that. And so he goes and meets him at his restaurant on his birthday. He's begged to leave him alone, but he's kind of a fucking lush and not really a good dude, Jet Li's character. So he basically fights him at the expense of his friendship, at the expense of all respect and honor, and at the expense of a whole lot more. Winds up challenging this dude on his birthday, fights him in this restaurant of his friends, destroying the restaurant in the process, and basically killing this dude. And at the end of this, he goes back to another restaurant, gets drunk, wakes up in the morning, goes home. His wife was already passed away, but his mom and his daughter are brutally murdered by the godson of the dude that he killed in this fight. This fight was absolutely fucking amazing. Baller. The fighting in this movie is amazing, but it's a drama first. And they really punch that through. And when it hits this moment, he then goes into exile and he winds up being found by this young blind woman named Moon, I believe. And he winds up reconnecting to the earth, to spirit, by just meeting this lowly blind girl who's teaching him the ways of this farmer life. And he winds up understanding hubris and true honor and respect and letting go. And this was heralded as Jet Li's final martial arts movies, but obviously he did more movies in which he fought. But what Bullseye Bob was telling me was that it was the philosophy of his martial arts. This was the last one to focus on that. And he learns to slow down, to breathe, to be. He learns his place. And he winds up going back to his hometown, in which he left in a wreck, okay? Shows back up. Luckily, his friend has helped keep his family estate going just a little bit, but he shows back up, a man of honor and respect. And at this time period in Chinese history, they were being tested by other nations. So the whole premise of this movie is set up that he has to do this tournament against 4 of the greatest champions from other nations, but that road starts where he fights this giant ass, I think like American dude, and that's a really interesting fight, but he winds up doing this tournament, kicks everybody's ass, winds up fighting this dude, Takara, I believe, the Japanese expert. And what's interesting is that the Japanese and the Chinese were in the middle of a conflict that was boiling over, that was going to erupt as part of World War II, but they wind up having this fight, but he's probably going to win. Jet Li's character of Ho Yun-jin is probably going to win, but they poison him. Not Takara, because Takara's a man of honor, and when he realizes that this dude is being poisoned, even though he technically won, he proclaims Jet Li's character as the winner against all the corporate, uppity, fucking other dudes that were betting against him and poisoned him, and he winds up dying there on the thing, fearless. So the movie is based on a historical character, but in my research, Ho Young-jin he's such a monumental figure that so much of it is based on myth and legend. So this is not necessarily historically accurate, but as a story, I think it works. I'm going to read from my notes that I wrote right after I watched the movie. I wrote, very solid. It's unexpectedly tragic. It's Jet Li is exceptional. This is his best performance I've ever seen as far as acting ability, and the fighting is amazing too. And I loved Hero. I think Hero's a better film, but I think Jet Li is better in this film. The music is solid throughout. The fights are fucking amazing. They're absolutely great. The directing, the staging of everything, Ronnie Yu is great. And I've only known him from Freddy vs. Jason and Bride of Chucky, but this was fucking awesome. Structure's a bit clunky. I heard about the director's cut where they add in Michelle Yeoh trying to like have wushu kung fu like as a part of the Olympics, and I heard that kind of even exceedingly clunkifies it. But it is a bit clunky because it does make things kind of jarring jumps and leaps that at least to me structurally didn't quite work. But the pace for for the most part, is fine, except for those jumpy moments. There is some... It feels like there's some CG green screen type stuff going on in the beginning, especially. It's a bit distracting. But overall, it's about honor. It's about purpose. It's about sacrifice. It's the hero's journey. It's the story of redemption. I'm going to give it 4.5 you digs. I liked it. I liked it a lot. It hit me. It hit me hard towards the end. I liked the mythologized story of this dude. I love Jet Li's performance. The action is amazing, especially when it comes to that fight in the restaurant. All the performances are amazing. The chick that plays the blind lady, Moon, I believe, absolutely astonishing. Not a quite super perfect film, but just underneath it. I'm going to go 4.5 you digs. I want to know, what do you rate Jet Li's Fearless? And what do you think about it? Let me know. That's what I thought. Next week is a Gordon film. It's, God damn it, what's it called? It's something about an 8-diagram pole or some shit. Look it up right now. Because I looked it up earlier. Damn it. 8-diagram pole fighter. That's what it is. So I think that's a Gordon Liu film, and I loved... We'll be talking about him. But next week should be 8-diagram pole fighter. But yeah, really like the film. Fable says 4.5 you digs, agrees with me and my assessment. I loved it. I thought it was great. What's up, Chaco's 26? Damn, Auburn's out. Looks like it. God damn it. That sucks. Fable says, oh, great. 8-diagram is dope. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Bob has sent me on a really good journey. Spitting reality on Moon Knight's split personality. I love that people are still trying to top the talking Moon Knight by the moonlight. It can still happen. All right. Gordon Liu's my favorite martial arts actor. I really like him too. In fact, I want to talk about him some more. So we're going to lead us right into the next segment. It's time to talk about our top 5 movies in 1978. At number 5, I'm going The Last Waltz. This was directed by Martin Scorsese. This is the band's last concert, and they had a lot of people show up, like Eric Clapton, Neil Diamond, Bob Dylan, Joni Mitchell, Neil Young, the Staples singer, Van Morrison, Emmylou Harris. It was absolutely amazing. This is one of my absolute favorite, if not, I think it's my favorite concert film ever. So when I looked at the movies in 1978, saw The Last Waltz there, had to put it on there. Magnificently directed and just so monumental. Fantastic band. The band. Fantastic performers as well. Such a great concert movie. At number 4, The 36th Chamber of Shaolin. Talking about Gordon Liu. I fucking love this movie. This is one of the early movies that Bob sent me on in my Kung Fu journey. And it has maintained. Like, there are a lot of really good movies that I've watched, but this by far is one of my favorites. Gotta put it on this list. I love training sequences in these movies, and this is like all training sequences, but with the right motivation, the performances, the soundtrack, and I don't just mean the music, the soundtrack of the ta-ka-ka, absolutely freaking amazing. At number 3, Superman. You'll believe a man can fly. This was the prototypical superhero film, basically. We covered all 4 of the Christopher Reeve Superman films recently on PCP Movie Night. Highly encourage you to check those out. But this movie still, it just slaps. It's great. And it definitely is a movie that I will watch so many times and over, no matter where it is while it's playing. At number 2, Halloween. John Carpenter's Halloween is one of the best horror films ever. One of the best slashers ever. It is suspensefully crafted to a meticulously expert level. This movie is amazing. And Michael Myers is still one of my favorite slasher villains out there. Not my favorite. That's Norman Bates. But Michael Myers is amazing. This movie's amazing. I've talked about this so many times on the channel. And at number 1, I'm going Dawn of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead, in particular, the Argento cut, the European cut in particular, which was, of course, directed by George Romero, written by George A. Romero, but the European cut was edited by Dario Argento, and it has more goblin music. Honestly, if I'm considering only the Romero American release, it's going to be behind Halloween. Probably going to be number 2. But considering the Argento cut, it is my number 1. More of that goblin score. I love this movie. It's not my favorite Romero zombie movie, even considering the Argento cut. But for 1978, it's going to make my absolute number 1. So I want to know what your top 5 favorite movies of 1978 are. And to recap, mine are number 5, The Last Waltz by Martin Scorsese. At number 4, The 36th Chamber of Shaolin, starring Gordon Liu. At number 3, Superman by Richard Donner. At number 2, John Carpenter's Halloween. And at number 1, George A. Romero and the director, or the Dario Argento cut of Dawn of the Dead. What are your top 5 favorite movies? 1978. The time is right to talk Moon Knight. Ooh, that's a good one. Oh, I don't know, Fable and Twitch. You might have some competition here. The time is right to talk about Moon Knight is how I like I like that. To talk about Moon Knight. Might have to put this up to a vote in the PCP Army. Talking Moon Knight by the Moonlight, or The Time is Right to Talk About Moon Knight. Time is Right to Talk Moon Knight. Might have to put that up. Wasn't Star Wars 1978? No, Star Wars was 77. We talked about that 2 weeks ago. It was on my list, but it was 77. But Superman is 78. I'm really trying to hunker down. I'm doing my top 5 list so much earlier now. Next week, we're doing 79. After that, we're going to jump into 2000. Do that decade. The oddies. All right, William says 1978 films: Drunken Master, Dawn of the Dead, Halloween, Animal House, I Spit on Your Grave, and Superman. Great list. A lot of those were considered. I haven't seen I Spit on Your Grave since high school. I just watched Drunken Master a couple weeks ago. Loved it. Loved it. Covered it here on my Kung Fu Saturday. Sunday. It's Sunday, Robbie. It's Sunday plus there's no alliteration there, so what's the fucking point? Moon Knight is your birthright. I do think we got a contest going on now. Might have to let it go up to a poll in the PCP Army. All right, Mark here with the top 5 for 78. The Lord of the Rings, the animated film, really good. Rotoscoping going on there. 4, Dawn of the Dead. 3, Halloween. 2, The Deer Hunter. Hell yeah. And number 1, Superman. Really good top 5. Anybody else got a top 5? I want to see some more top 5s from y'all. And I'm going to give you a little bit of time because we now pause officially for station identification. William, the next martial arts film is 8-diagram pole fighter? Is that what it was called, Fable? 8-diagram pole fighter, Gordon Liu. Very excited for that one. Haven't watched it yet, but Bob said it was very important to watch it in the original language. All right, Twitch says, for his top 5, Buddy Holly story. That's really good, actually, Gary Busey. Cheech and Chong Up in Smoke, Lord of the Rings, Superman, and The Deer Hunter. Really great list. Really great list. Hell yeah. I got that "How's It Supposed to Feel" song stuck in my head. Yeah, 8 Diagram Pole Fighter. Sounds like a fucking athletic event, not a movie. Less a movie, right? Doesn't it? Taki says The Wiz and Grease. I didn't consider Grease. But The Wiz is definitely I'm not saying I don't like Grease. I think I like Grease more than I really do. My mom loved Grease. Played it all the fucking time. All the fucking time. So I grew up hating Grease, but I actually really do, I think, like Grease. So maybe we need to revisit it soon. Thought it was the 8 female pole dancers. No, that was 2012, Robbie. Anyway. All right, I've been going through the X-Men animated series. And in recent weeks, I've been finding it to be really fun to go through the X-Men animated series, not just episode by episode, but with the comics considered. So now it's time for an annotation on X-Men animation. And tonight we're talking about episode 9, The Cure. So we just had the unstoppable Juggernaut come through and wreck the mansion. And we kicked this one off with Cable. We last saw Cable a couple episodes ago in Genosha. Now he is hunting down the dude who developed the depowering technology in the Genosian necklaces or whatever. Not necklaces, but those bonds. Those, what do you call them? Whatever, right? And it brings him to find Warren Worthington III, Angel. So he goes across Angel. They had this whole thing where Angel's lover at the time, who doesn't know he's a mutant, accidentally shoots him. He falls out the window and all that kind of stuff. Then we go into Xavier and Moira. So Xavier had left right before Juggernaut came in and destroyed the X-Mansion. He went to Muir Island. He's talking to Moira about the alleged cure that this dude Adler has developed. So they had the little conversation. Then we click back to Westchester County. We're talking about the X-Mansion. They're still rebuilding it. Wolverine's being super extra. Weird stretching on everybody. Need a little bit more water in that mortar storm. Oh, Cajun, you don't know how to do it. So he gets this big fight with fucking Gambit. Leads to nowhere. Jubilee shows up. It's like, oh, the professor's finally fucking talking to us. The professor talks to him. Says, yo, I'm on Muir Island. There's possibly a cure. And then Wolverine's talking all this shit like any mutant that wants a cure is not a mutant to me and blah, 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 blah. Rogue, by the way, is feeling really bad. She decides to leave from Muir Island to go after this cure because obviously she has powers, but she cannot come into physical human contact with another person without devouring their personalities, powers, and memories. So she goes to Muir Island. She runs across Pyro and Avalanche. Pyro kind of hits on her, thinking that she is his contact that he's trying to meet for a job, Mystique, but it's not. So she kind of throws him out, has a tumble with Avalanche. It continues on. Meanwhile, Adler is this dude, this doctor. She goes to see him. And we have a little bit of a flashback. She wants to be cured. Adler says, yo, think on this. She goes, she thinks about Cody, her first kiss. She steals this dude, puts him in a coma. So we have a flashback. Turns out Adler has been killed or incapacitated by Mystique. Mystique is actually Adler, and she's working for Apocalypse. And the machine doesn't cure mutants. It makes them Apocalypse's slave. So Rogue shows up. She wants to be cured. She's on the table. Avalanche and Pyro show up and wreck the machine, kidnap Adler. Turns out it's Mystique. They feel stupid. She turns back into Adler just in time when Rogue comes to save the day. Then Cable shows up, confronts Adler. It's like, I'm here to kill you, to stop this evil future. Turns to Mystique. I'm not even Adler. But when Rogue comes back, she's able to, of course, to kind of like turn back. So Rogue never knows, by the way, that Mystique is posing as Adler. But she does decide, because Xavier and Moira, along with Scott and Jean, because they wind up showing up later on at the end in the third act to help out. And they wind up confronting Cable. Cyclops blasts Cable off of the cliff, and he disappears. They think they kill him. And then Rogue decides, you know what? I'm going to keep these powers. I could do some good with them. And on her way out, she comes across Angel, Warren Worthington III, And he goes to be cured, and Apocalypse is like, hell the fuck yeah, and that's how we're going to get our Archangel. So that is that episode. So the comic book series, X-Men Adventures, breaks it up into 2 entire comics, written by Ralph Macchio. Artwork's pretty decent in these. Andrew Wildman. There are a few little differences. One of the difference in this comic book is that Angel's lover does not shoot Angel out the window, and in the show, Angel just like, sadly flies away because he feels betrayed. But in this one, he actually goes after Cable, trying to hunt down Cable because Cable threatened his lover. So that goes on there. What are some of the other differences? Let me take a look. No, that's all the same. They do not do the whole Wolverine weird stretching bit here in the comic book series about how to build shit, his whole confrontation with Gambit. They find out about Muir Island. Cyclops immediately says, let's go. Rogue tries to leave. Gambit tries to stop her. They have the whole confrontation in the bar with Pyro and whatnot. It's very accurate. It's more so accurate than some of the other ones. There's not so many variations, but they do skip some things and they stretch other things right out. No, Ralph, not the Karate Kid. And then it ends with Avalanche and Pyro attacking while Rogue's trying to get the cure, and it has this nice pinup right there. Goes right into the next issue. And don't forget, Mortal Monday is September 13th. Mortal Kombat's coming to home consoles. So Rogue breaks out right there. Same creative team. Stretching it out a little bit. So this one kind of goes by pretty freaking fast. There are a couple little differences in here, but for the most part, it goes right along with the animated series. Cable shows up. He's trying to kill Adler. Turns out it's Mystique. Rogue never finds out. Cyclops and all of them. One big difference is this. So, in a lot of these X-Men animated series episodes, Jean finds herself in danger and has to be saved. But in this one, she didn't. In this one, she's actually shown as being rather badass. But in the comic book, when Cyclops blasts Cable away, he winds up leaving a bomb that blows up and knocks Jean Grey off the cliff, and Rogue has to go and save her. Now, I do not remember that happening in the animated series, but that is them adding an extra level. But the main reason for that, I think, is to give her extra motivation to realize that her powers can be a benefit to mutant and humankind. And, of course, it does end with Angel showing up, and then it kind of goes right into the next episode that we'll be talking about next week. But they have this whole extra scene right here of them, Rogue explaining to Cyclops, Xavier, and Jean in the bar, like why she chose to stay. But it also shows this very nefarious bit where they're actively starting the experiments on Warring Worthington. And even the fake Mystique showing up. So this is, if I remember correctly, the beginning of episode 9 or episode 10. And then the big reveal at the end that he has been turned into Archangel, which does not happen in the animated series. So it's interesting to see how they plot and pace these out a little bit differently from the animated series. But that, my friends, was your annotation on X-Men Animation, episode 9, The Cure. And yes, sadly enough, no Robert Smith. So there you go. The big highlight in that episode, though, is a Rogue-centric story that was very well done and handled very well, continuing this ongoing story. That's something that was different about the Marvel animated series in those days. It was like the original MCU in a way, is they would kind of tell this ongoing story. And the arrival of Apocalypse. And the voice actor on Apocalypse is one of the best voice actors on the X-Men series. Amazing. So there you go. Big Herm says, I want those comics now. Blame Robbie. You know it, bruh. All right, getting into show and tell now. And show and tell's over there, so we now pause for station identification. Where's the button? All right, show and tell time. First of all, I'm gonna. It's I missed last week, so I got a few extra things I'm going to show off. First up, some movie pickups recently. I got a copy of Matinee. It's a Joe Dante film. I love this movie, so I'm excited to finally get it. It goes in and out of stock at Amazon, but I got it finally with the slip. So very cool for that. Got Captain Kronos Vampire Hunter. This is my favorite Hammer Films movie. I talked about this on Dylan's Horror Show last night, but very excited. We're going to spotlight that one day. Maybe Horror Fest. Got a Criterion copy of Ghost World. I upgraded my DVD, Ghost World, to the Criterion copy. More on that soon. Got some comics. Over the last couple weeks, these are the ones I'm most proud of. There's a Zap Comics homage by Jim Rugg to Red Room. Trigger Warnings, issue number 1. Love that cover. Very excited to have it. I've been on a Rick Veitch kick or wanting to dive into one, so I picked up The One. I've never read these, but I got issue number 1, issue number 3, and issue number 2. So 1, 2, and 3, but I don't have 4, 5, and 6. Also, I got the Max Immortal issue number 1. I didn't find any of the others, but I did get an issue number 1. I've never read that one as well. I also did pick up a copy of Uncanny X-Men 248, the first Jim Lee on the title. I love the colors on that cover. I wanted that in my collection. You know I'm trying to get the Peter David Incredible Hulk run. The most difficult one to find is going to be 340, and I got it. So I got me a low reader's copy of Hulk 340. We'll be covering that soon on Marvel in the 80s. Also, picked up the NECA Frankenstein figure. There's a black and white version and a color version. This is the color version. I decided just to go with those because it's very tempting to get all of them. But very excited for that. And my most extreme awesome pickup of the week. I've upgraded a few things. My Ghost World DVD to the Blu-ray. But I picked this up as well. This is the Akira hardcover box set from Kodansha by Katsuhiro Otomo. We recently did a Comics Revisited on Akira. We talked about why this is such a masterwork. So I got this. I showed it off on my Instagram show on Wednesday, but I do want to open it up and show it a little bit more. So it's all 6 hardcovers. So it's all 6 volumes of Akira in hardcover, in the original format. Meaning that instead of reading left to right, like in America, because the Dark Horse and the other Kodansha, like paperback reprints, the artwork is flipped, so it reads in the conventional way. This one is not. So it's the original version of the artwork, so it reads correctly, and the original handwritten special effects that were taken out of the other versions to add in English special effects. But those are the original hand-drawn special effects from Otomo. So all 6 volumes in beautiful hardcover format. There's a volume 4. They look amazing. And even though I just reread this, I'm excited to reread it again with the correct kind of flow. Because even though you may not think it adds too much to flip the panels that way, it does. It adds differences in flow, structure, pacing, and and just anatomy at times, but there is a different thing. But also it's got this Akira club book, which is all kinds of cool, like preliminary art, cover art, all kinds of beautiful fucking stuff. That if you're an Akira fan, I believe that the Ed and Jim Cartoonist Kayfabe video on this said, this alone is worth the cost of that box set. I agree. I 100% agree. So it's a bunch of preliminary art, sketch work, promo art. It's gorgeous. It's an amazing volume in and of itself. A historical retrospective, artistically, visually, on Akira, which is one of the absolute best comic books, most important comic books of all time. And now I've got the badass hardcover deluxe edition. I've upgraded. That's an upgrade. Now I know where my tax money's going to go. Yes, James, because it was out of print for a while. You couldn't get it on Amazon, couldn't get it at your shop. It's back in print now, baby. As soon as I found out it was back in print, because every week I look for it, as soon as it was back in print, I ordered the fuck out of that. So, there you go. All right, now we move into the final five. Going through the Blu-ray collection, still in the P's. There's my Phantasm collection. These are all cased together, so they count as one. But that's all 5 Phantasm films. That's from the box set that has the sphere and all that kind of jazz. That's really cool. This is the Phantom of the Opera. This is the Hammer horror version of it. Scream Factory with the slip, reversible cover. Then there is the Phantom of the Opera by Joel Schumacher. This is a movie cinematic version of the musical by Andrew Lloyd Webber. And I adore this fucking movie. Then I got Planet Earth. This is one of the first Blu-rays I ever bought, and I still watch it occasionally. The entire series of Planet Earth, just visually striking. And to wrap up tonight, another box set. That's the Poison Ivy collection. This is also from Scream Factory. This is not individually cased, but it's all 4 Poison Ivy movies. I know, I didn't know they did 4 either. I just knew of the 3, but it's all 4 of them. 4 films of seduction. Why is that in my collection? Why y'all fucking think? Anyway, that's the final 5 for tonight. Yeah, that Akira set is looking pretty. That's one of the best. It's one of the best. All right. And that's tonight's show. Thank you so much for checking out the show with us tonight. We appreciate it. We had a great time. I had a great time. I hope you did. We're dipping out. Don't forget, tomorrow night, join us for PCP Movie Night, 8 p.m. Central Time, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. Great movie. You can watch it on Tubi. If you haven't seen it, go watch it tonight. Big Herm says, Poison Ivy. Yes. Yeah, Big Herm knows what's up. And then at Dylan's Horror Show on Saturday night, Midsummer. We're nearing the end of March Madness, but we still got some bangers to hit. Where is Robert Englund's Phantom of the Opera? I don't have that one. I wouldn't be against having it. But apparently I felt Poison Ivy was a little bit more worthwhile. Don't forget, Jelani. Don't worry, man. One day we'll do it. Like, you'll be like, why are we doing a Poison Ivy fucking franchise review? It's because Robbie bought it. Anyway, love y'all. Have a good one. It's been a great show. We got another great show next week and all throughout the week, so do not miss anything. Station, thanks for rocking with us. Pop, pop, boom. His name was Hellboy.
it's supposed to feel.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win at life. I never miss, that's fact. Taking big swings, bitch, hand me the bat. Put me in the ring, you'll go out in a bag. Cause I sing what I mean and I bring it to the mad light. Ain't got time to kill, I got time to feel. I took the red pill. I know life's short, so I wanna live real. But how is it supposed to feel?
How's it supposed to feel when we're on this fucking deal? Rockin Robbie live, it's all real. Is it real?
They wanna say my name, but they holding back. They wanna say they hate, but they know it's cap. I ain't play no games, I just do that's fact. And I don't feel no shame, it's a mood you lack. I go crazy, nah bitch I ain't lazy. Track after track, I work on the shit daily. Pass me the jack, right as fuel, got me hazy. About to unpack all these things I've been chasing. I've got visions in my head, like memories after death. To be a legend instead of something you can forget. I'm living up every breath, I'd rather lead than be led. I'll fill the seats as I spread with every word that I've said.
How's it supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel?
All right, so we're going to do a taste test. Right here, I got an Eggo waffle. Right here, I got Mrs. Butterworth's Fruity Pebbles flavored syrup. Now, there's a piece of me that's like, you know what? Don't open it. Don't try it. Just fucking keep it. Just always keep it, and it will just be a thing. But I can't have this 20 years from now and not know what it fucking tasted like. So we're going to open it up. It's got the tamper-proof seal. I do not think that this is going to taste good. It tastes like if someone melted down Fruity Pebbles into a thick-ass syrup. All right, let's fucking do it. I've had this shit for weeks. We're going to open it up and try it. Let's get a good taste. Ooh. It is thick and fake looking, but that's okay. I like strawberry syrup. So, got some on there. Let's get a good chunk out. It smells like Fruity Pebbles. Fuck it. It tastes like fucking Fruity Pebbles. It tastes like fucking Fruity Pebbles. It's not bad. I think you could overdo it. That's not bad. Holy shit. Wow. So, Mrs. Buttersworth Fruity Pebbles syrup. I like it. Tastes like Fruity Pebbles. If you don't overdo the syrup on your waffle or your pancake, I think it'll be fine. There is a Fruity Pebbles pancake mix. I think that might be a bit fucking too much. But for just a regular ass, plain ass, white, regular, extra regular ass fucking waffle, that was rather delicious. Four you digs. I can't give it a 4.5 or a 5 because there are way better syrups than that I would choose over that. But that's pretty fucking good. That's pretty fucking good. Fuck it, I'm going 4.5. 4.5 you digs for the Mrs. Buttersworth fucking Fruity Pebbles. All right, that is the end of the show. Thank you all so much